And good evening, everybody, on this wonderful Tuesday. We're so grateful that each and every one of you are here. Welcome to the interview room. We have the boys are all back here for now. Karen's the boss of this operation in the background, running static for us and keeping us out of trouble. Dr. Bricado will be here in a minute. He's in a cab in Manhattan. And he's on his way, so he'll jump in here. So if this is your first time to the interview room, we're grateful. We hope that we just ask one thing. You hit the subscribe button and then thumbs up, and put your seatbelts on and enjoy the ride tonight. So if this is your first time, real fast, we're going to go around the room. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner. And Bob, if you would introduce yourself and tell folks what you're all about.
Well, certainly. Good evening, everyone, the panel and the audience. It's good to be back here with you all tonight. My name is Bob Gilliam. I'm a retired police officer. I spent 36 years on a couple of different departments, beginning in Southern California. I was a detective for about 15 years total. And later on in my career, when I promoted, I commanded a couple of different detective units.
And he was an undersheriff. He's humble. So he's been the top to the bottom. John, tell everybody about who you are.
Hello, everybody. It's really a delight to be back here. My name is John Lamb. I began my law enforcement career in 1974. And like Bob and Chris, I work with both of them at the Oceanside Police Department in Southern California. My experience is primarily as a homicide investigator, a hostage negotiator, a CSI, and a detective sergeant supervising a couple of different units, including Chris, which I really should have gotten a medal for. And after my police career, I became a professional author. So it's a delight to be here, and it's an honor for Chris to have us here.
Yeah, and Bob and I don't hold it against John that he had to work with us. So, and his books and links will be down below at the end here. And over here to my left, or my right, excuse me, will be another dear friend, Mike. Tell him who you are.
Well, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Very honored to be part of this panel. My name is Mike Miller. I have a little bit over 30 years in law enforcement. Started off with U.S. Army military police investigator over in Europe. Came back, worked at a tier 1 agency here in Southern California. Rose up through the ranks. Some of my assignments, I was co-managed the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the FBI at one of the resident agencies. That's got some good stories from that. Had good times. Bureau commander of an international airport. Ran our unit that did use of force and reviewing of uses of force and car accidents and such, as well as policy and procedure and some other administrative tasks. So I retired, and now I host a YouTube channel called Heroes on the Job.
Yep,
So,
and go over there. It's featured at the bottom of my the interview room here, so you can just go right down the bottom, click on it, and it'll send you over there where you can subscribe. And we're just waiting for Dr. Bricado. Of course, he'll be here in a minute. He's listening. probably in the cab. Hopefully, um, the driver doesn't take him somewhere in a back alley, and we, we find,
That's behavior pods.
he finds himself compromised. So that said, okay, serious note tonight. Tonight, boy, oh boy, a lot going on. We'll just go around the room in terms of, looks like they released the video that they were able to recover from the Nest system. So it probably sounds like it hit a server, not necessarily the cloud, but it hit a server somewhere, and they had a redundancy system probably set up. And Nest and the FBI worked together because Kash Patel put out today, the FBI director put out today that they were able to work with their private partners and pull this information up. So kudos to Nest right from the get-go for putting it up. And quite frankly, kudos to the feds for getting this stuff. They are really, really good at electronic, footprints and the stuff that we're seeing here. So we have news right now that people are saying there's a gentleman being detained. We don't know that yet. What we like to do always as a panel is make sure that the authorities have come out and, kind of put their stamp of approval on it. And that way we know for sure we're not going down rabbit holes right now. Anyway, going around the room, any initial thoughts today before I show the video on what you guys thought? Mike, we'll start with you, and then Bob will go around the room.
Well, then you bring up a good point, because there's all this information from the news media outlets that are there on the scene, the commentators, as well as from the sheriff and the FBI. So we really don't know what's truth until it's validated and been confirmed. So while there's a lot of rumors and theories and whatnot, it's always good to keep an open mind and keep, especially during an investigation. Don't go down any rabbit holes. Look at it from a broad perspective, and don't focus too narrowly on one thing or another. I mean, there's even video released last week of a guy just rummaging through the neighborhoods that is caught on video, and not a whole lot of people have been talking about that. So we may want to bring that up tonight too.
Great point. Bobby?
I'll just discuss the video and the suspect and my thoughts on him briefly here, and then I'm sure we'll get into some details. But the thing that stood out to me when I first saw the video was the suspect really acts very comfortable as he walks up to the door. And there's been a lot said about whether or not he knew there was a doorbell camera there, and his reaction to it, either way, whether he knew it or not, is interesting. But he seemed very comfortable to it. Now, when he decides to walk over to the flower bed and pull up a handful of weeds, he starts to stand up and he looks out toward the street very briefly. And then he turns around, walks toward the door, and does what he does at the camera. So let's look for that. I don't know that it really means anything. Did he hear something? Did something spook him? I don't know. But other than that, to me, he seemed very comfortable, as if he had been there before and was familiar with the residents. So that's observation number one. I'm sure we'll get into the gun and the holster and all of that, but let me just comment on the backpack. The backpack that he's carrying is obviously bulging full of something, and it doesn't look like it's a bunch of smaller loose things. It looks like perhaps he has a number of items in the backpack, but the main thing that I keyed in on was that it appears to be perhaps a blanket as one of the objects, a tarp, or something like that. So why is this guy carrying a backpack in there? And typically we would call that a kill kit. And there's probably zip ties in there, among other things, and who knows what else for sure. But if it is in fact a kill kit, he would have a number of those things in there, maybe some tape, knives. I realize he's carrying a gun too, but he's probably got knives in there. So just for discussion, I'll throw that out. There are a lot of other things, but I'll pass the torch here over to John and let him comment.
What I found interesting was that the FBI has returned in force to the neighborhood and the immediate vicinity of Ann and Tommaso's house. And they're and they've apparently reinitiated a door-to-door canvass looking for witnesses. And information that I gleaned from the reporting was that they were searching for video footage from doorbell cameras and security systems, and that they were searching trash cans. And this may be indicative that they've received some sort of tip that has pointed them toward that neighborhood. Is it a coincidence that it happens to be in the area? Well, the media coverage I saw, they didn't think it was, but I'm going to reserve judgment on that. But the fact that they are out en masse looking for more evidence leads me to believe that perhaps this, because this search didn't begin till a little bit later in the day. Now, you'd think if they were going to begin a recanvassing, they'd have been out first thing in the morning, which leads me to believe that perhaps the release of the video sparked someone, some tip being called in, and they moved on it that afternoon. But again, that's speculation on my part.
Okay. So let's start off with the photographs of the suspect that has been released. And Mike, let me move you up here. So observations here, applying your experience, and we'll go from Bob down.
Okay, so I missed your last. You want me to comment on the photo, Chris?
Yeah, just the photograph of initial impressions.
Okay, so take a look. Focus in on the ski mask and the head, the suspect's head, and I know that there's a better shot of him, just showing him staring right into the camera. But I want to point something out with respect to the mask.
Okay, I've got. I think I just uploaded these photos here, but let me go forward and see if I get the.
Okay, right there. So that's good. That's a good one. Okay, so you see he has a flashlight in his mouth. Now, take a look below his mouth. You really don't see much of a chin line, and the whole neck area is very full. Okay. And when you look at the stature of the suspect, he doesn't appear to me to be obese. He's in fairly reasonable physical shape, proportionate body. And so someone that has a beard or a long goatee or a lot of facial hair, I believe, would exhibit this look with that ski mask on. So what I'm saying is that whole area around his neck from his chin on down looks to be filling up that ski mask. And I think that most likely the suspect has a beard. We know he has a mustache from the other photos, a dark colored mustache. And there's also an indication that he does have a beard, because one of the photos shows some hair below the lower lip. So I want that's what I'll point out, and then we'll move on to someone else.
Initial impressions.
His initial approach to the front door, he's almost walking. He's got a peculiar approach to the front door, and I think this tells me that he's attempting to keep his head away. He's got his right shoulder raised. He's attempting to keep his face from looking toward the camera, which tells me he knows the camera's there and he knows the camera's operative. I concur with Bob. I'm of course, I saw you could see the mustache, but I concur that there's likely some level of facial hair around the chin or the neck. The gloves are what kind of tell me that this is sort of, there's not the sort of planning that went into this. These look like they're winter gloves, like they're heavy, whereas we would know when we worked in the winter and say, you know, what we called the winter in Southern California, we would still wear gloves that allowed us to have some dexterity. But these look a little puffy, it's like, well, I'm going to need gloves. What do I have in the drawer that, you know, that I wear when I go to the snow? The other thing is that he appears to be, it's kind of interesting. He attempts to block the camera with his left hand, yet the pistol in the holster indicates that he's right-handed. So that's why I'm gonna let Mike take over from me.
The funny, it's funny because the one thing people haven't mentioned, they mentioned the beard, they mentioned the mustache, but what about his eyelashes too? Because just looking at his eyelashes, you can tell if they're big bushy things or if they're trimmed and maintained, right? So just another piece of evidence to figure out who this person belongs to. I do think he shied away from the camera when he walked up, because most places nowadays have a ring or a nest. So I heard earlier that there's the gloves that he was wearing were the like nitrile gloves, like you just wear for handling food or something like that. So there's another, he might have a second pair on, or that would keep fingerprints.
Perhaps they've been pulled over the gloves have been pulled over another glove. That would explain the bulkiness then.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me as well.
Yeah, and here's a good thought here. Could it be leather latex gloves over normal gloves?
Right.
It could be.
That's
that
a
would
good
protect his
observation.
DNA and everything too.
Mhm.
In theory.
It appears clearly that he's got some type of hair on the lip line there, up in there. So 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, male or female?
10, it's a male.
10, it's a male.
Agree.
Yep. So we got a 40 score on that guy.
Yeah, if this was Family Feud, we would have won.
Well, it might turn into Family Feud by the time we're over tonight. Who knows?
Okay, so let's. What do you think about the holster position? Let's, Mike. We'll start with you and work our way up.
Yeah, we're positioned for a holster. You know, outside, hang right there by your crotch. That's not where you're going to carry it. You can't move. It's going to be, most people will carry it on a hip, small the back. If it's concealed, you have a couple other choices. But and then the holster with the weapon doesn't match either. It appears to be
Explain that to the audience.
It appears to be a holster for a revolver, maybe like a long barrel revolver, but the pistol looks like a semi-automatic. So each holster is designed for a specific type of gun, and this seems to be mismatched.
And what does that, staying with you, Mike, for a second, what does that speak to you about this guy's competency with weapons?
Very low, because if you have any weapons, if you're a gun enthusiast, you're going to have the right weapon. You're going to have the right holster for the right gun. So this is either in haste or what he had laying around the house, kind of like somebody mentioned with his gloves. Hey, what do I have in the drawer? This will work. That holster, the gun is not going to be secure in that holster. So if he goes to run or jump or anything, that thing's flying out. So I may just put it there just to, if someone were to come across this path, to intimidate and influence them for compliance.
Okay. John, what's your observation on the gun holster? What's your thoughts?
It's very similar to Mike's. This is somebody that doesn't carry a gun. That's not, and we don't have, that appears to be, the firearm appears to be a small semi-automatic, let's say maybe I mean, it'd be difficult to speculate because some 9mm are pretty small, but maybe a 380 or something, but it might not even be a real gun. It might be a replica, even a toy, and it might be there to intimidate. Because with these gloves he's wearing, he's not going to get the gloves into, if it's a small semi-automatic pistol, he would have to take the gloves off to use it.
That's a good point.
And as Mike also observed, if this guy has to run or anything, this gun could fly out, because I looked, I don't see any restraining snap on it or strap. And the way he's wearing it is, this is somebody that he's not super familiar with wearing a gun.
Okay. Bob?
Yeah, I concur with everything Mike and John have said so far. One other observation, the gun is obviously carried in an unorthodox manner. I heard a couple of people that sounded very credible in some of the news shows today that described that as a quote unquote Mexican carry. Now, I've never heard that term, but apparently that's a thing in the Southwest. I don't know if that's true or not, but that could be. That said, though, I'll posit that perhaps this guy is carrying the gun in that manner for show. And what I mean by that is it for show to let in his confrontation with Nancy, or if he's confronted by anybody or anything. So an amateur might be willing to carry a gun in that manner. And I'll just tell you right now, in Idaho, this is an open carry state here in Idaho, and we see people that sometimes are not very savvy with guns and have a big ego carrying guns, open carrying guns, and you can just tell by the way that they're handling themselves and their demeanor that they don't know what they're doing. So I'm just saying that sometimes people will do that, and that's that could be what's going on here with this chap.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Real quick, just another, if you go to draw that weapon, coming from your stomach up, you're drawing it off to your left, not to engage a target in front of you, versus off a hip, you're coming up and out at the target. So this is much more complicated to draw and get on target should you actually be using it in that manner.
Let me just make one more comment on that. So there is such a thing, and people that know guns, people that may have a concealed carry, certainly police officers that may be listening to this will be familiar with what is called an appendix carry. And I often carry that way, but that is a concealed carry position in the appendix position. And that's not what this is. This is very unsafe. And as Mike pointed out, if he had to run, he would have a hell of a time trying to maintain control of that weapon.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if he, like Mike said, if he pulls the gun up, with all the bulkiness of those gloves, if it's a small semi-auto, he's going to have quite a couple, 4 or 5 seconds to get it, get the gloves off, get the finger in there.
Well, even if he can fire it with the gloves, the slide going back might catch on the glove. This is not somebody who is familiar with carrying a firearm in a holster.
Yeah. And did you say that, John, or did Mike? My bad if I missed it. But okay, so let's. Dr. Gary's here, so if you're just joining us, Dr. Gary's in the house.
Sorry, Manhattan commutes.
He had his Manhattan commute. Probably got dropped off at a couple of restaurants, a couple of bathrooms, and
yeah, right.
Now that he's resolved, he's good to go. He is the author of The New Evil. His books are going to be down below in the links. All right, so let's do the first video of the suspect walking up to the porch. I'm very aware that ABC, 7, all the other news stations are reporting somebody has been detained. That is a good thing. Okay, but we don't know if it's a suspect.
Right.
Okay,
Just
so-
questioning, it says, I think, right? Just
I'm
detained
sorry?
for just detained for questioning. We don't
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah, it could be, a tip that somebody called in and, they drug this guy over and said, hey, we need to talk to you. So we don't know, who this guy is, but I'm sure by the time we're done here this evening, we'll have more data. And if it's something we need to go to a live stream, we'll punch over there and see what the authorities say. So let's go into the first video. Mike, did you want to say something? No?
No.
Okay. So this is just a quick clip. It's about 14 seconds long. FBI released it of the first clip of him walking up to the porch. Observations, thoughts as we go forward.
I think it's pretty obvious. His head's down, so he's trying to avoid the camera. He's got that light in the front of his face to give him some illumination in that area because it's so dark out there.
Well, it also would partially black out the imagery of his face because the light's shining into the camera.
Yeah, and we see that the light lights up the front of his shirt as he puts his head down. You can see it right there. I've heard that it could be the type that you can put into your mouth and you can turn it on with your teeth. I don't know. I'd never heard of that, but there are devices that you can slide a little lamp into, and so it does exist, which is interesting if that's the case. What struck me,
Chris, he enters the sidewalk coming from, as we view it, from the left side, which would tell us, if I remember the aerial view of the layout, would have been where a vehicle, the driveway runs as we look at it from right to left around to the side to where the back door would be located in the garage. So obviously he's come from that direction. There may not be a vehicle there, but we know that's the direction it appears he's coming from.
Yeah, and what else is interesting is notice he has to have some type of backlight. Probably, I don't know if it's the moon. I don't know what's going on, but look at the shadow on the right there. See the shadow on him?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think there was a full moon that night.
There was.
Yeah.
Or nearly completely full, yes.
Or close to it, yeah.
So he's walking. What do you think, again, of the positioning of the weapon? I mean, how's that thing strapped on there?
There could be a retention strap on the top, but I doubt it just the way the gun is sitting there. And if it's a short barrel gun, that could easily come out of that holster.
Well, is it actually like looped into a belt, or is it like a metal clip? That would be the question. Is it clipped to a belt, or is it actually got a loop where the belt goes through?
Yeah, maybe, the revolver type of holster that has the slide lock on the out. Is that what you're thinking, John?
Yeah, and in fact, I can, if you want, I have the holster kind of I'm talking about.
Yeah, can you show the audience?
I will go grab that. I'll be right back.
Okay. What about his choice of backpack with reflectors? What's that telling us?
Well, that would tell me that he didn't purchase this backpack for this mission. I would say he's had it. What kind of an assassin or a burglar or somebody that's going to creep around a residence at night is going to buy a backpack that's laced with a reflective tape on the outside. So I would say, he had it, or it was given to him, or, he bought it at a secondhand store or something like that. Probably not purchased for this.
Okay. Anybody else?
A lot of it looks like the stuff you would have if you were somebody into hiking or spelunking, in caves. The shoulder lights and the bag and so forth. The sense I had looking at this was, and you all touched on it, is it looks like something you threw together with what you had around the house. I agree 100% with everybody, because I heard you guys when I was traveling over, that it has that kind of cosplay amateur hour kind of thing going on. So it's like I'm envisioning somebody who just kind of had stuff in the closet, stuff in the drawer, and threw it together and made this kind of outfit. But you guys know what I mean. It looks like hiking equipment or cave, spelunking equipment or things like that. Yes.
Okay,
John,
Chris,
what
what do you want?
Don't show the gun, though. You can't show the gun.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
going to show the holster.
It's a YouTube thing. Go ahead.
Yes, no, I know that. And so I don't want to offend the YouTube divinities. This is what you would expect would be the sort of holster for a revolver. And then this would be the sort of gun we're talking about that he's carrying. You would expect to see in a holster like this. And if you can see the belt would go through these slots here, and it would ride on the hip, and there's a retention strap, so that conceivably you could run with this and the gun wouldn't pop out. So I like Gary's expression of amateur hour. This is, you would expect that if you were going to be carrying a pistol in that manner, or the appendix carry, which would be tucked inside of the waistband of the trousers.
Okay, and so real fast, I'm going to play video number 2 and let it run. I got to step out for a second. Oh wait, it just refreshed on its own. Never mind. I was having a technical issue on this side here. So here's video number 2. It's I think 28 seconds long.
Okay, this is where he looks back up at the road here very briefly. Right there. See him? He's starting to walk back toward the door, but he's looking back toward the street. So I don't know what that means or if it's significant, but did he hear something? Who knows? I don't know. But something caught his attention back there.
Did he get spooked?
Perhaps.
Does he have a second guy?
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility too.
Yeah.
That somebody's whispered to him or something.
Okay, so everybody's telling us they got a guy detained. Awesome.
He looks so comfortable.
Yeah, he's not. He knows where he is. He's not unfamiliar with these surroundings.
Right.
Agree. Yeah.
Definitely comfortable and almost inappropriately comfortable.
I like his choice of camouflage here, where he goes up and he steps that up into the doorbell. And when I first saw these pictures the other day, that was the first thing that jumped out at me, was this idea of, what the heck is that stuff doing?
Yeah, that plant material next to the blood.
Yeah. It just, DLR.
Now we know how it got there.
Yeah, now we know how exactly. And I've got some other pictures I need to set up, but
does his right hand ever move position?
that's a great point.
He grabs toward the gun and where his belt buckle would be in one of these frames. There,
but does
right
he
there.
Does he open it? Does he open his fingers?
I'm sorry, that was his left hand, wasn't it?
No, it's his right hand.
His right hand's at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
had.
does
that
he ever
wrong.
open his fingers and extend them or do anything with his hand that shows dexterity? or could there be some sort of injury that would keep his hand in that position?
Well, if he's going to draw the gun, it would have to be with his right hand.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. What if it's just for show? He may not be drawing it.
Yeah.
He may have
Or-
just realized that doorbell was there. And by the way, remember the timeline here is the doorbell is disconnected at 1:47. Obviously, he hadn't done that yet. He's just trying, from what we can see in this particular video. So he's just trying to conceal it. What are your thoughts about the fact that he only uses vegetation from the front of the house to try to conceal this doorbell?
Well, it doesn't show if this is an operation with advanced planning. We're not looking at a master criminal here.
Yeah. Somebody dropped the ball.
If you're coming there and you know there's a camera there, and I think his approach to the front door would be indicative that he's aware there's a camera there. Did it not occur to this guy, I might want to bring something along to cover, like how about just some duct tape already torn and put it over the lens?
Or spray
so
paint
I
or
see a lot of preparation here.
Right.
Well, I also thought that the reason we saw some of the vegetation, I thought, thinking along the lines that there might be some staging, that it might also be useful for giving the impression that some chaos happened at the front of the house where the blood is going to be left. So you break some of the vegetation that's growing there to leave it, sort of looking like somebody, there was a little scuffle or something like that. Because I'm interested in the fact that we don't see any blood here yet. And placing this in the timeline and everything is interesting. But I mean, where are we supposed to believe at this moment the victim is? I mean, if she was in the house, she's in bed at this moment, right? She's supposed to be sleeping in bed when all this is happening. We don't.
Well, we
obviously
presume so, but
we don't know. Right?
Yeah, we don't know if she ever got in the house.
She could be somewhere else, exactly. And this guy is here to do the staging, right? And that's what I'm wondering about, if that's what we're seeing.
Well, he doesn't seem to be creeping around either. It's not like he's sort of making a stealthy ninja approach. Does that indicate that he's not concerned about waking somebody up in the house?
Yeah, that's a great point. Right. So, I mean, this guy, in my opinion, what do you think about this backpack?
Well, I think it's sharp or something in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's carrying that for show. You can clearly see it is stuffed, and there's got to be some large bulky item in there that's forming that shape of the backpack, because if it were a bunch of loose, small zip ties and knives or, tape, duct tape and that kind of thing, it wouldn't look like that. But if there were a blanket or a tarp or something like that in there, that would definitely do that. Or bags, maybe a duffel bag.
Which would then mean she's got to be inside. Why would he be carrying a tarp if she's not there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this part of this guy showing up here, going up to the doorbell, picking vegetation, and then at some point he has an afterthought, which we haven't seen the video yet.
Right.
I got to take this door ring or Nest door camera with me too, or at least take it down. This isn't the part that we know that he took that Ring camera or the Nest camera, and that's, I'm wondering when that occurs, because if he thinks that, okay, I got up to the front porch here, hypothetically, of course, and now he's decided, okay, I've checked the front door. Let's see if he actually reaches out to check the front door. I wasn't looking for that earlier. Let's see. With his left hand, or he's got his right hand, Mike, that you said, up to the thing here. And it looks like he's got those gloves running up a little bit past his sleeves here. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's obviously cognizant of leaving his DNA, and it's possible that he's taped them even a little further up that we can't see. So, but that image right there is very consistent with what we said earlier. I think he's got 2 pairs of gloves on each hand. That's
Well,
what
he got it pulled up because maybe there's a distinctive tattoo that he doesn't want seen.
that could be.
Yeah. And Mike, what's your thought on this one? Just, which, if you look at now, we get a little bit closer, we can see on his left hand, that looks pretty obvious, like a latex glove of some sort, right?
Or similar, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, over another glove because it's pretty bulky.
Right.
Right. And then we look at his sleeve, his right sleeve here. He's pulled that sleeve down pretty well, but he hasn't taped it down or anything like that. So
it looks to me like he has just multiple layers of clothes on. Probably 2 layers of clothes.
But I agree with Bob. That he most likely has tattoos there that he doesn't want to be shown, because he's making a distinct effort to cover that area up and keep it covered.
Right. There are a lot of people in the chat saying that they're convinced that this is a woman. I don't think so. I think we see facial hair, and I think it's ruled out that it's a woman. Don't you all agree? This is a male.
Yeah, we gave it a 10 out of 10 that it's a male.
And the hair is the beard is
the facial hair and
yeah.
See, he's trying to figure out what the angle of this camera is. Because he keeps pulling back, stepping back. Watch him. See, now he's decided, okay, well, I'm just going to pull away here for a second. And he's looking for some type of item to disable, maybe, dismantle, but then he makes a decision of, well, I'll just cover the camera with some vegetation. The fact that he picks vegetation, thoughts on
those
that?
are going to stick. This is so ridiculous, because this person had to know the camera's here. Pick up some branches or twigs you've torn off a bush, and then attempt to make it stick to the camera. I'm not super impressed with the intellect.
No.
Yeah, I agree. And so now he grabs those flowers. And what's interesting is he grabbed enough where he thinks he can stuff it over the doorbell. And that's going to, be the solution, which tells me, even for me, it's less sophistication. Why not just, if you're really, into the game here, a bad guy, why not just tape it up? You've got your kit going there. At least put some duct tape in it, or put, masking tape or painter's tape or anything like that, and just put it over the eyeball there.
Yeah, because he's wasting time doing this. You've got a limited window to commit the crime, and he's fiddling around something that could have been handled in 4 seconds. Walk up, put tape over the lens, problem solved.
Yeah. But he's in that house for 39, 41, maybe 43 minutes at the most, from this moment forward. From this moment forward, he's on that property and in that house at some point for a minimum of 39 to 41 minutes.
But maybe he doesn't want to have to use something that requires too much dexterity or taking off the heavy gloving that he's put together to, you just pick up the sort of growth because you don't really have to bend your fingers too much or something like that. Because you get the sense that to the detriment of his ability to move the fingers, he's worried about DNA, and he's got like multiple layers on there. Like he looks almost like it's almost silly looking because he can't. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that possibility? That rather than try to take them off and use something that would be better, he just tries to improvise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very reasonable.
This guy's an amateur.
Amateur hour, yeah. And he looks like a cosplay criminal, like he put this together, you know, like if you were imitating what somebody would look like who was going to.
Yeah, it makes you think how many times does this guy play GTA on his, in his computer games?
Right.
Grand
In his
Theft Auto.
basement. Yeah.
Yeah. While mom makes him makes him pizza bites on the microwave. Hot Pockets.
Or his
So someone in the comments had asked, could he be on the spectrum and not behaving like a normal person, and therefore that's where his irrationality comes from.
Would make the dexterity question interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look here, you guys, does it look like he's having a thought change where it looks like he wants to reach up and either knock on the door and then all of a sudden discovers the doorbell camera, and because he pulls back, watch his right hand go up to the doors right there. See, that's like like he almost wants to knock. Okay. And then he goes, that's probably not a good idea. Oh, wait a minute. There's a camera.
Yeah. Good catch, Chris. I think you're right.
That's interesting. Let me say that again, Chris. That's intriguing.
We're going to play it back.
Let's see.
Like he's going to use a knock and talk, right? The old ruse. And she's 80, she's 84 years old. I'm going to knock on the door, get her to come to the door. I got a gun. I'm in. Okay. But the problem that he has is he's got that metal door there. And so I think he's reconsidering his point of entry here, possibly. I mean, just thinking out loud. But yeah, check this out. See, he went towards it and then he pulls back. Watch his right hand. I'm going to pull back a little bit more. Right there. And then all of a sudden he sees the doorbell and goes, oh crap. See, he even steps towards the doorbell. When he's coming in, he's stepping to the left, like he's just going to knock. Mm-hmm. And then he sees the doorbell and he steps over to tap on the doorbell, or at least try to take it out. See, now he's like, oh crap, I got to cover my face.
Yeah, that seems to be exactly what he was doing there.
And now he's reaching. I don't know if he's reaching for the doorbell or he's reaching for the door handle. What do you guys? Let me pull these pictures up. Will you guys? I'm curious what your opinions are on that thought process.
Well, the camera is a little higher than the doorknob.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, sorry. The camera, if I recall, is several inches higher than the doorknob. So he would have to adjust for that if he were grabbing for the doorknob. The security door is fairly flat, so I don't think he was reaching to see if it was unlocked, grabbing the edge of the door to see if it was unlocked. But let's take a look and see the proximity of the camera to the doorknob.
Yeah, I'm pulling those up right now.
I think his left hand would have to go to the left more to get to that door handle.
For the door, and for the door handle would be completely off frame to the left as we look at the picture.
Right.
Right.
He doesn't look like he's anywhere near the doorbell.
Right.
You have a picture of the front door, Chris?
Yep, I'm pulling it up now. Okay, stand by. So can you guys tell, based on the video, what do you think of this? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think
his hand was. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you got it, Chris. I think he was reaching for the door, and then he redirected his right hand over to the camera, and tried to do something with it. He might have been trying to grab one of those vertical rails there on the door just to see if that door was unlocked.
That's a good point. like a
mean-
hook, like a SWAT hook. Remember?
Yeah.
Clip it and rip it.
That's
You know.
Well,
Um,
and also that glass looks very reflective. The flashlight might have been sort of beaming at him from that reflective glass on the side, and there might have been
Yeah, which is why we can see his face reasonably well. There's a lot of reflection coming off that glass.
yeah, I mean, there's a reflection of a package, right, Chris, in this image?
yes, you can see it at the bottom down here, and it's a Amazon package that had been on the porch. Whoops.
So there's a reflective surface, and he's got this sort of flashlight thing going on. It must have, every once in a while, sort of reflected in his eyes, and kind of made him wince or have to.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to pull this video back up one more time. I'm really curious what he. So yeah, when he walks up, immediately he's looking off to the left. So I'm trying to see. It looks like a piece of glass on the other side too. So there's two pieces of glass
Right.
on the door on both sides. Okay, let me pull that door up again. Yeah, you can see the other. This isn't a good picture, but you can see the other frame here on this side. It looks like an identical piece of glass. And then, so when he gets up there, he's changing his thought process.
Mhm.
See him looking like he's looking through that piece of glass on the left.
Mhm.
And he's looking into the house. And it would make reasonable logic that he is now going to be deciding, okay, how am I going to get in this thing? So he's already made the predetermination. He's going in. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thought, Mike?
Yep.
I see you thinking. Okay.
Yeah, I still think his left hand goes below his right hand. So I think he's not necessarily trying to, after that first approach, then he moves to the camera. His right hand's still lower, as low as the doorknob, but off to the right as he's facing the door.
I like it. So yeah, because his left hand would go to that handle while he's trying to work on the doorbell. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying his hand didn't go to the door handle.
Okay.
I think it went below his right hand in alignment. It didn't go off to the side for the door. So
Well, the thing I
There he's at
wonder
the door.
about
There's
is
the
there's
camera.
no forced entry. How did he get in? Does he have a key? If he has a key, why is it in his hand?
Well, the back door is left open, right? I mean, but
Yeah.
as we
So
keep going,
was this an aborted effort at the front door and then we go to the back door?
right.
Maybe he thought the door was supposed to be unlocked. Maybe that was the information he had. Hey, the door will be unlocked when you arrive.
Yeah.
Because the fact that he's reaching for the door handle suggests to me that there's an expectation that the door is going to be open.
Yeah. See
See,
how
I
his
think-
hand's positioned there, Mike, just like you said?
Yeah.
It's now open, like you're going to grab towards the door handle because the door handle is below where he's grabbing. Look at this picture here.
Mhm.
Hang on. I got to put it up. Look at this picture. That door handle's right here where his left hand is opening. He's palming it like he's going to reach up while his right hand is up here on the doorbell. So it's almost like, to your point earlier, Mike, he was thinking, okay, maybe how am I going to get in this thing? And then he tries to open the door. I don't know. Well, I don't see his hand actually making it to the door, but then it's turning. See his hand turning?
It is rotating, yes.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to open the door. Check that out.
Yeah, because he's almost he's got a pinching movement in his
Yeah. Watch his left hand to
Yeah.
your point
left
earlier,
hand.
Mike. That's a great catch. And you see him rotating it. Watch this. Nobody has caught that. You guys heard it first here on the interview room with this panel. Hit that subscribe button. Right there. See him rotating? I'm going to let it run.
That would be the height, about the height of the doorknob in relation to the camera.
There he goes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's trying to grab that doorknob. And interesting. See his hands open. He's pinching.
Yep.
And he's going in, and he makes contact, or maybe he didn't make contact, but at least he was trying to get in there. But I think he actually made contact. What say you guys?
Well, and it looks to me, Chris, that it does begin to rotate as we look at it from left to right, but it's only a short distance, which would signify to me the exterior security door is locked. That it only would move a slight distance.
And let's for the record, everybody, right here is where the doorbell is, or the camera, and right there is the doorknob. It is below the camera. It is below the camera, and that would be his left hand and his right hand. And Mike, that was a really good observation to say that his hand was down below there. Man.
I said, it's interesting. I studied left-handers for my dissertation. I know a great deal about them, and most left-handed people will adapt to turn the doorknob on the side that it happens to appear. So if it's on the right side, they'll use the right hand to open it, even if they're lefty. In other words, it doesn't tell us anything about the handedness of this person to see what he's using to open the door. But it's interesting. It looks like he's turning the knob left, even though it's on the right side. So I guess the right hand is being used to shield against the light, to shield the camera. So he's just
he's doing this.
Right, but it doesn't, because the audience. The reason I mention is because the audience thinks it's significant that he's opening the doorknob with the left hand, but it isn't.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he gets in. John, what are you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was agreeing. I was nodding.
Okay.
It's interesting that because we don't. I guess maybe it's not interesting. We don't know what the settings were for the front door. In other words, my Nest doorbell. Someone comes to the front door. I get a chime inside my house. You got somebody at your front door.
Right.
Same thing. There are other places I've set up. Other places you go and they don't have those announcements. So depending on who installed their doorbell, their Nest, and what features they added to it or turned on or off, we'll never know at this point.
Just to expound on that a little bit, Mike, if Nancy were inside the house at this point, he's taken a huge risk to think that she doesn't have the alarm on that doorbell, that camera, Ring camera, on to where she can hear it. So she would typically receive a notification that somebody's at the door. There's movement on the camera, right? So he's still acting very casual. So he doesn't seem to be in a hurry to do anything. He doesn't seem to be overly concerned that perhaps the presence of this doorbell that he appears to have just discovered is going to sound an alarm. Now, maybe he doesn't know anything about him. I don't know, but just think about that for a moment.
Okay. And so let's watch it one more time. I'm slowing it down. Okay, so here's another thought based on what I'm seeing also in the chat. Is he actually grabbing the door handle, or could he be grabbing the bottom of the camera?
I think it's too low for the bottom of the camera. I think he's grabbing the doorknob because that's a good
Grab
6
the
or 8
camera,
inches.
why is the hand rotating? Why is the
Right.
hand rotating from left to right? Because if you look at the way the camera is set into that section of the door, I don't see how rotating anything would be conducive to trying to loosen the camera.
Yeah, and he's grabbing the pincher there, and see, it's almost like he's coming down on top, and then he's going to rotate his hand.
Yeah,
Right
I think he's trying the doorknob to see if the
Right
door's
there.
unlocked.
Yeah. Okay. So open would be in this position, right to left to open, and that's the direction he goes when he rotates his hand. Over the top, right to left. Let me go back.
But it barely moves because the door's locked.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, he's obviously intent on getting into that house, and yeah, he's rotating that wrist.
Why else would he be rotating it if he's not grabbing the doorknob?
Yeah,
Exactly.
great point.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there to grab. There's nothing there for him to do other than to twist the doorknob with his left hand. He's
Yeah, and
absolutely trying the door. He's rotating the doorknob and grabbing it while he's trying to cover the doorbell camera, which is higher than the doorknob. So that all of that makes sense that you guys have pointed out.
Are we sure that he knows that the camera is active? Is it possible that he's just blocking light that's shooting off of that reflective glass? Do we know for sure? I mean, well, how certain can we be that he thinks that thing is active?
Well,
That's a really good point. He may have been told that the camera was deactivated.
yeah, you know what? I think we're wrong. Because this is the door handle and the lock mechanism right here from the door to the right. So I think he is grabbing the doorbell. Check it out. You can clearly see the lock mechanism right here and the door handle. So it wasn't a good observation.
That's so funny.
I'm not seeing that, Chris.
Right here
Explain that to
in the
me.
bottom
Maybe
right-hand corner, you can see the door handle sticking out
And the deadbolt lock.
and the deadbolt lock, the top of the deadbolt lock,
Okay.
which lines up perfectly with this photograph. Whoops.
Okay, so go back there again.
With that photograph. See that?
Right.
Here's the silver doorknob. There's the deadbolt, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm. I
Right
see
there.
that now,
Yep.
but he's up to the camera.
Yep. And his
Okay.
hand's going to go past the doorknob. See, the doorknob's under his hand. Is that what you were saying earlier, Mike? And I misinterpreted that?
I was saying that his hand's going low, parallel to his top hand.
Right.
Okay.
And so it actually goes towards what I think was the camera. It could go to the door, but if he's trying to jiggle the camera, the camera for the Nest is at the top of the device.
Yeah.
And then you have
Okay.
the doorbell down below it, the push button down below. So if he goes to the bottom and just kind of moves it to see if it shakes at all, that's what I was saying, that those are parallel to his hands are parallel up and down, but his left hand's coming in lower.
Yeah, you're right, because now I see the doorknob and I was focused on the hand twisting, but it is to the right of the doorknob when he's
Yeah, so
twisting.
he is trying to disable that doorknob at this moment. And I don't know if they have the timestamp on this thing. So he's frustrated, goes out, grabs the shrubs, comes back in, and decides to, drop them up against the camera, which is
That's a little bit more suggestive that he thought the camera was running.
yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to cover his face.
Now he's trying to, this is the one picture where he's trying to, and this is the one I was talking about where it looks like he's looking to the left and through the window.
Yeah, through the left side window.
Yeah. And he's trying to put the shrubbery around the doorbell. I mean, that's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Thoughts on this?
No.
If
Well-
this, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he thought that the light shining on the camera would obscure its ability to photograph him, but I don't know that he's that smart.
And I don't know how he thought these pieces of vegetation were going to, do you think he was going to wedge them behind the camera? And this just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I like this one. South Park epic. Yeah, we agree. We agree. But what does this tell us about the sophistication of this guy, even though he's kitted up here? I don't think he's thought this one through.
No, lack of sophistication.
Yeah, he makes Brian Koberger look like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, no ability to. I mean, this is amateur hour, dumb. Chris, you know, another person I know, another homicide detective I know that was talking to me about this earlier said this, and then I saw one of you guys had mentioned it in our chat offline. Is the question: are they going to be able to use his eyes to help identify him? You guys are, of course, aware of that technology. Do you think that the fact that his eyes are, you know, come up on the screen there like that will help to identify him?
You know, so now everybody else can chime in, of course, but you know, down deep into South America, at the borders of countries, they do some, you know, capturing of eye technology, you know, stuff. They put the device on people coming
The
in.
retinal scans?
Yeah, the rectal, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I.
Retinal, not,
So if they get a guy in custody, that's about the only thing that they're going to be able to know is, you know, had he crossed over from, you know, one point to the next. But I've never had a case where we were able to identify him by, you know, retina identity.
Because
Anyway,
people are talking about this like that's going to really. I mean, I'm not sure how much that'll help.
yeah, I
Curious.
don't know. What do you guys think?
I think the technology is there. Whether or not they'll be able to use these photos to, you know, to identify him or not, I don't know. But the technology is there.
It's
yeah,
fascinating.
the quality of the imagery, you know, even if the technology is there and is available, is the imagery that good of this person that you could actually employ it, even to match it against some living person that, you know, you want to either eliminate or identify as one of the players. I just don't know that the image quality is that good.
Right. So let's go over this now that we know that the debris came from him. Okay. And we also know that this blood is not there in that video now. And I'm still concerned about the debris being over this one blood spot. But at what juncture, once he goes in and he's into that house, he's bringing her outside. I want your guys' thoughts. I said earlier today to somebody, I said the focus here is going to be the car. It's easier to find a car than it is a body. And if they get a car or they have a car, and it sounds like they're detaining a guy in Tucson right now in a car. And so what are your thoughts about this? Is, again, I'm going to look for something that maybe popping live here for a second. So I'm, you know, but what do you guys think about this? I've heard 2 different things, 3 different things, but I'm pretty convinced this is, straight over, low velocity. She could be standing, she could be kneeling. That's satellite, but it also looks like, to me, maybe she's did a cough because there's really, smaller particles here. And there looks like, well, not in this particular picture. I have another one that, she could have coughed.
Yeah, some of that looks aspirated, Chris.
Yeah, that was my impression, but I don't know. I want your guys' opinions.
Well, is it also possible, if we're thinking about the possibility of staging, that there's a little cup or something of blood that you sort of pour? I mean, it doesn't look sprinkled. It looks like you make you could have a cup of blood or some other thing and pour little droplets, and they would fall in that way, would they not?
Or from a syringe.
Right. I mean, listen, I mean, you could.
Because you can see the bigger,
Yeah. So you're wondering about, because technically speaking, if she was never there, which is an idea that I think we have to at least entertain, if you're going there to stage this, you have to put blood there. I mean, there has to be a way to produce this that doesn't require actually having the person there.
Okay.
But I think it's unclear.
So let me ask, going back to the videos, Chris, are those, when they were released, were there any time or date stamps affiliated with them?
No.
So we're making the assumption that it was that night.
That's a great point.
I think, because I always go back to the street cops that show up the very first day. And mind you, they have to rely heavily. They're coming to a house for the report of a missing person, not a kidnap, not a robbery. They're coming out to take a report for a missing person. And when you do that, when you show up to the house, you rely heavily on the family to tell you what's in disarray. Hey, mom is a collector of trash, and the house always looks like this. Or she's very meticulous. She makes her bed when she gets up at 2:00 in the morning, and whatever. So you're relying on family for that information of what's normal for the occupant. And then for the first 24 hours, nothing clued the officers and the deputies into switching this to a kidnap until 24 hours later.
All right.
So even the
disarray in the house, you mean?
Yeah. So the house wasn't in disarray. Even the doorbell missing, they may or may not have seen that. They could have gone in to check on mom through the back door themselves, and either found it open or they left it open. But they don't go to they didn't see the front door. They didn't notice the doorbell missing because they saw the bracket and just ignored the fact, there's a bracket, that filled in their brain that something was there. They just kept walking.
Well, here's a silly question, but silly questions are interesting sometimes. Is it possible the blood wasn't there when they first went to inspect and thought that it was a missing person thing, and it was added later?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because the family
would have already been isolated and kind of being.
Well, you had law enforcement there the entire time,
And the family
during the search, and the family was there, but we don't know who from the family was there. Yeah. I'm assuming it's Annie and Tommaso, since they live, 7 miles away or 4 miles away, whatever it is. But
it's 5 miles. I checked on the map.
Okay.
and Savannah's in New York or DC or something.
Yeah, and the brother, I think the other brother lives out of state somewhere. I'm not sure.
Virginia.
Okay. So,
so we think it was there at the time of whatever happened before authorities got there. And it seems silly, but believe it or not, with staging, you have to ask.
Yeah, and now that you say that, I do remember hearing something last week that the initial responding deputies discovered the blood. So when they were doing the search of the home, thinking at the point they were thinking it was a missing at-risk adult, that's when they discovered the blood.
Okay, so it's there from the get-go.
Yes,
that's helpful.
But it could be. I was at my mom's this morning picking oranges, and the stupid orange tree snagged my arm. So if you're out gardening and bleed a lot, it could be explained away at that moment by if you have the daughter and son-in-law driving the narrative, let's say, because that's who the cops were leaning on. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, she cuts herself all the time, and she was out gardening, and that's probably old blood." Right.
Yeah.
And they
so
can drive
absence
that.
of-
They can drive that narrative so that the deputies don't go down that path.
Yeah,
Okay.
absence of any major blood in the home, inside the house, that blood on the front porch would not be overly alarming to me, just given the fact that we're looking for a missing person.
Yeah. And particularly you're in the desert with spiny plants.
Mhm.
Or maybe you didn't think it was blood, thought it was mud or some other.
Well,
Well,
if they
I'm pretty
were
sure those
experienced-
deputies they
Yeah.
know
experienced
blood
cops,
when they
you'd
see
look
it.
at it and you go, "That's blood."
Yeah.
I mean, we would know, but I don't know.
Well, and just
The deputies would know, is what I mean. The general
Yeah.
public. Maybe not.
Yes.
Yeah.
in today's world and in today's modern technology, how fast information travels, right? I mean, just lickety split. As an example, the chat's been blowing up that they've detained somebody. Okay. Well, let me show when they detained this guy. The sheriff put out earlier today, not tonight. He just put it out tonight. And he clarified earlier today, the sheriff's department deputies detained a subject during a traffic stop south of Tucson, looking for the car, obviously, right? That's what we were talking about. Focus on the car. The subject is currently being questioned in connection to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Additional information will be released when it becomes available. Okay. Now, that's popo talk for we don't know if this guy's involved. But we have him, and we got him earlier this afternoon or whatever it was. Okay. And it may have been triggered by, I heard that TMZ or somebody put money into the Bitcoin wallet,
Oh.
and that activated something.
I heard
Why?
something about that, but it was a small amount of money, right?
Yeah. So the
Why
New
are
York
they
Times
intruding the
reported.
investigation?
Go ahead. What?
I'm just saying, why would you introduce yourself into this investigation?
Right.
I mean, I'm certain their claim is, well, no, we just put the money in there. But why ask why? I would think at my age, I would stop. I
So-
realize that some of these questions can't be answered.
Yeah. So the media is reporting the suspect was detained in Rio Rico, an hour south of Tucson and 20 minutes from Mexico. Okay. The media, the mainstream media is all on this. Somebody saying TMZ, I heard, was $300 they put in there. Yeah. Let's see here. I think this, though, is very telling that if they have somebody, I think tonight, if this guy's going to pan out into anything, we'll get another notice that there's going to be a press conference tomorrow.
Or even tonight, if it's really meaningful.
Yeah, if Kash Patel's still in town, they would line it all up.
Yeah, I could see the FBI holding a conference tonight, but not the sheriff.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that's going to unfold. But until then, let's look at
Real
this.
quick. It is interesting. If he is heading towards the border, they would stop him before he crossed. So that's pure FBI, from my experience.
Mhm.
They're not going to let him
break
cross.
that down a little bit deeper, Mike. What?
We had a guy that we were following, and he actually got into a private airplane, and we did a car stop on an airplane because the FBI said, do not let him take off. So you got this twin prop airplane going down the run, not going down or taxiing towards the runway. And we had to stop him before he left because they did not want him to get airborne and leave. So the FBI would definitely intervene and stop somebody if they're headed to the border, just because it complicates everything.
Yeah, and let's bring the audience up to speed. So in Mexico, if somebody were to cross that border and they're a Mexican citizen, okay, that ticks a whole bunch of things into motion quickly. And though every one of us here has worked the international border, I mean, that's where that was our bread and butter down there. And what you need, if the federales get them, or if anybody arrests them, remember, they don't have the Constitution of the United States down there. And if they're a Mexican citizen, then you have 24 out of 48 hours to get all of your paperwork, because we don't also have an extradition treaty with them, unless that's changed. Has that changed? No. See, I don't know if a lot of people know that, okay, that once you make it across onto their soil and they were Mexican nationals, meaning that's where they were born, they're safe. They can slide into home and the umpire can say safe. Okay. Now, the only difference is if a law enforcement agency gets hold of the U.S. embassy down there and the consulates for the Mexicans embassy and the federales down there, they have to put together what they call an Article 4 warrant. Okay. Guess what, audience? Everything has to be translated in Spanish. And you have 24 hours to do it. Every paper, everything. Mike, what were you going to say?
No, you're absolutely right. That's why you don't let them cross the border.
Yeah, it is crazy. Okay, so imagine all the work that's gone in the last 8 days, and you have 24 hours to have everything, not just one thing, everything translated into Spanish. And then you have to put it in a book or multiple books or 10 books or 20 books, and you have to rush it to the consulate's office at the U.S. Attorney's office, where they have somebody from the embassy there, and now they'll take your case. Okay? So we had a case, it was where John knows, we actually sent a guy down to a Vadio down just outside of Mexico City with a plane ticket for his uncle. And we got him to go to a telephone pole where there was a phone, and we had a established time. We had Augie De La Rosa from the DA's office was our POC, our point of contact. And we had the suspect call our office, and we had the nephew standing next to his uncle on the phone, and Augie got him to cop out to killing a guy, okay? And we made a deal, as John talks, and I'm sure Mike knows, and Bob, we said, door number one, we tell the federales there's a huge reward for your arrest. Door number two, your nephew has a plane ticket that will fly you into TJ, and you can walk to the border, and we will see you at Customs and Border Patrol in San Ysidro. Okay? This is crazy. He took door number two, and the two of them flew back, and they come walking up to the border, and I'm standing there at the border with, the cavalry, and his name was Mauricio, okay, Mauricio Ramirez. I said, Mauricio Ramirez, ¿cuál es tu nombre? What's your name? Mauricio Ramirez. Okay. venga aquí, come on over here. Okay. And as soon as he stepped over that line, click, he went down for it. So if this guy was headed towards Mexico, Mike is 1,000% right. Have you ever had it, Mike? I'm sure you did. Had guys that pushed it over?
Yeah, I mean, you deal with the international level, and there's agreements, and people are brought back. Don't get me wrong, but if you can stop them from going over the border, it just makes it a lot easier for a lot of people. So I think that's why, as they start making, and again, did they release this video or videos to ping the chatter to see if somebody was going to run or not? And they were already following them. It's not like they just randomly picked a car up off the highway and stopped it. So they think this guy's involved, or they get chatter on the wire, and all of a sudden he starts driving. Well, they're going to stop him.
Yeah, let me get to some of these questions here. Some of the super chat. Thank you, gentlemen. I want to tell you that you're all wicked smart, Boston accent. And thank you for teaching us a mastery of critical thinking. Well, you're very kind. Very kind. Early morning in the UAE. So happy to be here, join the live. Not always possible due to time zone differences. Fantastic panel. Thank you, Chris, and love. Appreciate you, Karen, and hugs to the bud, man. Wow, you're in the UAE. You know, there you go. This is international, and thank you so much for your kindness. Here's a question. Anybody want to take it? Can they obtain saliva DNA from the porch area? Looks like he's using a mouth bite torch flash, a flashlight thing, and basically it's just a piece of plastic goes in your mouth. Could be saliva transferred from on torch to gloves to camera to bracket, doorknob, plants. Thanks for the coverage. Anybody, any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
certainly there's the possibility. I would hope
Yeah.
that they would have attempted to swab for DNA from the doorknob and, in fact, the entire door.
Yeah. And also, one of the things, though, that bothered me in this picture is that doormat is still there. They could have gotten stuff from the bottom of his shoes off of that doormat. There could have been, different soil transfers. The plants are still there. Were still there when the media walked up and took these pictures. I would want to know when this Amazon package arrived, before or after the suspect. Was it during the day? What's the deal with this Amazon package? Here's all the brush that he grabbed. It's still there when these pictures were taken by Fox News.
Chris, is that a sort of a path of blood? Because when you see the
Yes, it's moving.
the impression of, right. So there's movement away. It looks like it's away from the door.
Right. She's moving. He's moving. The blood is moving towards the path. You can clearly see it in these pictures.
Because when I see it that way, it looks more believable to me that there was an actual person there than it looked when it was just a little close up of some droplets. Do you guys see what I mean? It looks like
Yes.
like more realistic that somebody was moving down.
Once you have a wider view, that yes.
Yeah, then it starts to look a little more real.
Right. And that's why I thought up here in the second tile here where all of this is, where you can see my cursor moving, maybe, I don't know. But all of this right here, I thought, well, that's why this is such a problem for me, where this was laying over the blood. Okay. And this right here, I thought my first impression was he pushed her out the door. Let's go. Okay. And she may have tripped over that step, which if she put her hand out, if you look at her left hand, the top of her left hand, I don't have the photograph of it, but there are photos. You can tell this woman would bleed very easily. And if she hit that if she hit the deck like that, we don't know inside if he pistol whipped her up here in the face area. And when she hit the deck and she went like that and the blood from the face area would cause this type of problem here. John, Mike, anybody, are you tracking me? And this right here, I think, is transfer from the suspect's shoes.
So
Right.
we can't see where your cursor is on the screen, just for info.
Hang on for a minute. I'm sorry. Let me.
No, you're good. No, I think you're spot on with that.
Let me blow this up. You see? Can you see now here? Oh, you can't. Hang on. Can you see my cursor moving? Okay.
No, barely.
So, okay.
Oh, yes,
So,
I can see it now.
okay. So go on this tile right here. See this tile right here?
Yeah.
You see the debris is on top of the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means either the suspect coming out kicked it. Okay. I don't see the wind blowing it forward. I see, because if the wind's blowing in, everything's going that way towards the house.
It's kind of an enclosed porch too. Now I see what you're saying is that the material was kicked after the blood dropped.
Right. Yeah. And so the question is, when I first saw the cops there and they were taking these photos, you see this debris over here, these rocks over here to the right. Okay. And here he just drops this straight down. I was surprised this is still sitting there because I was like, this is just out of place. And now we know that he picked it up, he pulled it, and he stuck it up against the doorbell. Well, there could be all kinds of stuff on this debris here because he brought it into the scene from the scene. So he physically touched it. And that means, if he blew something out of his mouth, we don't know what could be on that debris. Okay. So I was surprised that it was still sitting there. And now when you look even further towards the driveway or towards that walk area, you now see this blood here on the walk area. So it is moving. She is moving, or he's moving her. Okay.
Out of the house.
Out of the house, which
So
now
a car, probably. In other words, it's where a car would be, right?
Well, that's the right. That's the $1 million question, Garrett. Okay.
Right.
So one of the reasons we questioned whether or not she was taken out the front door is because I was not aware of the blood outside of the tiled porch area. So now we have better evidence to suggest that she was taken out the front door. So yeah, and that blood, I mean, that would be consistent with a bloody nose, or being popped in the lip or something along those lines. I heard it described today on many other shows that was a significant amount of blood, but to me that is not a significant amount of blood.
No, that's, not the amount of blood we've seen, and at least it looks like a portion of it was aspirated.
Yes.
Which comes back to what you said, Chris, either she coughed or something that's part of the blood was propelled by air.
Yeah, exactly. And so, that then leads us into, she's 84 years old. And if she's got that going on, John, right? I mean, if she's got blood coming potentially out of her mouth, that's very problematic for life at 84 years old. Because now the suspect also has to manage that.
Particularly, she's taking blood thinners and whatever other medications. And let's not forget the fact that she also wears a pacemaker. So we just don't know. And then compound a physical injury on top of the horrible emotional trauma, fear that the woman is experiencing, having her home entered by an abductor in the middle of the night. So you're ratcheting up the possibility of causing more medical problems, aside from the injury that's inflicted.
Yeah. Did you guys see in that last super chat, did you guys see any evidence of the blood being on the porch in the video?
No.
I didn't.
No.
I looked for that too. I didn't see any.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I did too.
we don't think it's there. Do you guys read these? Yes. Photo under the mask. Let's see here. Karen's entering the domain. That means I'm doing something wrong. Whenever,
Chris, a lot of people in the chat are pointing out that there's a kind of purring sound coming from one of our.
I hear it.
I thought that was my computer or something.
I muted to see if it was. Isn't it's so one of you four? There's some kind of something near the speaker making a like that kind of sound, but quite a number of people pointed it out. I still hear it. I don't know if you guys do.
I hear it.
everybody want to mute?
Yeah, see,
We'll mute.
I'm muted.
oh, it just stopped. Somebody, when they muted, made it stop.
That's you. Gary,
No.
you're the last one.
No, it's not there anymore. It
All right.
stopped when one of you muted. There it is. It's back. Whatever that sound is, it's. See?
Okay. Is it gone now?
No. John, go ahead and mute Bob.
No, I'm on mute. How
I
about
can
we
still
do
hear
it
it.
one at a time? I'll mute right now. Nobody else mutes.
It's you, John. You're the winner.
It's the communication device for the UFO people I work for.
It says
I've
alarm
always
saying he's
said
got to
you're
go
a
to
kitty
bed.
cat,
Good
John.
catch. Good catch, by the way. Thank you.
Is it your dog? Maybe. Is he near you?
Someone was just airlifted
I have no idea
out of
what
here.
we're hearing.
Real Rico.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it was airlifted.
been confirmed on.
Mhm.
I was just doing some quick research on that. That medical helicopter went from Rio Rico to Tucson at 8:25 tonight.
I wonder if it's her.
That's what there's. It's possible.
Oh God, how happy
Speculating.
if it turned out that she was alive. I mean, can you
Well,
imagine?
if she's alive, that's a miracle.
That would be a miracle. It would be
If
very-
we have any further problems with complaints with the sound, I can actually wrap up for the evening. If you don't,
No,
if we get complaints or
over.
bothering people.
you're fine.
whatever it was ended.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there
let me,
was a cat here actually.
Mike, what channel were you running on there checking?
Oh, you don't want to know. I can't give my sources.
No problem. I'll find it.
Just type it into Grok. It'll answer all your questions.
Yeah. No press conference scheduled at this time, Pima County Sheriff's Department. No press conferences. Let's see here. Breaking news. Pima County Sheriff Department, with help from the FBI, has detained a person for questioning in the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. A law enforcement official told ABC News. Okay, they may have moved this thing pretty quickly. Here's the person of interest detained by Nancy. Hang on, I'm trying to pull it up. Where it's at. Near Rio Rico and Nogales. So he was headed towards the border. Towards the border, like Mike was talking earlier. We
Interesting.
put this up.
When you think about Kesh Patel being interested, that's intriguing.
There it
Maybe
is.
more
This is
complicated.
where the guy
Thinking,
was
let's see.
found. All right. Let me see what else is out here. Let's see here. ABC News. Let's hear what they say.
Not disclosed, but we know that a SWAT team had left. Briefed on the investigation, telling ABC News. I want to bring in our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Petersky, live in Tucson. Aaron, do we know where this person was detained? This individual was detained in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, according to the law enforcement official, David, south of Tucson. A specific location was not disclosed, but we know that a SWAT team had left the Pima County Sheriff's Department heading to Point South, and at a location
south of Tucson. A law enforcement official tells ABC News an individual has been detained in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. David, this development comes on the same day the first images of an individual approaching Nancy Guthrie's home were released, and as authorities continued to search in and around this neighborhood where her home is. We saw them searching a drain pipe, conducting other investigative steps today. But the breaking development here now, David, an individual has been detained for questioning in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Aaron, stay with me here. Aaron with us live from Tucson. We can show the audience the video now of the person, the subject that the FBI had released video of earlier in the day. This was the first time we had seen a development of this scope in this case, someone at the door. This was video retrieved from that Nest camera after the FBI worked directly with Google. And Aaron, just to be clear here, this person detained in connection with the case, authorities are not saying if it's the person that we see in this.
Okay, so this is, maybe it's fluid right now, but we'll have to wait to see, what the reality is, right? Let me see what's trending.
Where did you hear about the airlift?
I don't know. That could have been Kash Patel. Who knows, right? We don't know if it's actual real deal, because right here, the Pima County Sheriff is saying, look, there's no press conference. That's 46 minutes ago. Okay. This is the one you want to find. I'm praying and hoping that they found her. Okay. But we won't know that until obviously the sheriff or somebody comes up, the feds, and they throw a press conference together.
Well, and the thing is this, the indication that if God willing, they found her, is if the family begins to move. And I'm certain that there are journalists who are surveilling where they are. And if they begin to move toward a hospital or something, I think then we can speculate they found somebody. But I saw a note here that they've called the hospital, and the hospital has denied that there's anybody there.
Yeah. Anybody else? Mike, you got anything moving at your
No.
end? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we just have to see, right? We'll have to see what comes up probably within the next couple hours. And if it's something that is, live and going, then I'll jump back up here and let you go. Go ahead, Mike.
No.
His goose is cooked with you guys on the caper. Thank you, True Girl. Let's see here. I want to make sure that I'm going to go through these questions. I want to find the question. These are more comments. There are pictures where the perp doesn't have the backpack and gun on. What are your thoughts on what's being held? Great show tonight. Thank you. Where are those pictures? I'd like to get those pictures. He's wearing an eye mask under the ski mask. Okay. Let's see here. Hi, can you please consider my theory that he was wearing a printed 3D photo mask sold on SD will make sense? It's possible. Absolutely. Anything is possible. That is definitely something to consider, and thank you for your kindness. A senior LEO with knowledge of the case said apprehension was made. Okay, we got that. Thank you, Imama. Someone tells me what's going on. Sorry, I'm late. Can you hang around for another
Let's
hour?
rewind it.
44 minutes, and we'll give you a recap. No, I think we're all learning here as it starts to unfold. Hey, can you guys please read he's wearing a stretch printed photo mask? Yep, we got you. We're on it. We're on it. Do you guys read these? Yep, we're on it. We're in it. When I zoom in, these small spots look like dirt particles, which may have come from him. Ripped foliage and a little bit of dirt hang on fell. The color is much darker and different hue. Okay, thank you, Pop Sidekick. I love that that name. You're always here too. We really appreciate you. Is he behaving in the video like he already knows she's incapacitated?
That's a good question. He doesn't seem to be attempting to be particularly ninja-like. He's shining these lights, which would be visible inside the house. If somebody was up, I've got similar windows next to my front doors. If I looked and saw lights shining through, I certainly would react to that.
Mm-hmm. Low budget Columbo here from Buffalo, New York. Never a low budget Columbo. This comes across as military influence, the mission aspect, backpack, Frank, but okay. 2 a.m. go time. We love to hear your thoughts.
Not the gun, though. The gun is not consistent with anyone that has military experience.
And even the movement is too sloppy.
Yeah,
Right.
the gun here is more Barney Fife.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember the holster Barney Fife had? It
Yeah,
looked,
and the gun could, if he moved, would come popping out.
yeah, we're looking for Andy and Aunt B to be around the corner here with this guy. He's too sloppy. You don't wear a backpack with reflectors, especially on a full moon around town. So this guy is he started off organized, but it became pretty unorganized pretty quickly. The fact that he bends over and he picks up vegetation to cover the light, to cover the doorbell camera. We talked about this a little bit ago. He's not very sophisticated when it comes to that. Let's see here. Check on the speculation of him. He's a bandmate, supposedly has gambling debt owed in Mexico. Mama Eve, well, they're going to connect those dots for sure. That'll be very interesting to see how that's processed. They did not, let me fix this real fast. A family member's car, the sister's car, is still impounded. Okay? There's a reason for that. We don't know what that reason is yet. Okay? So we don't know what the connections, if any, are going to be. However, I feel very confident, and you guys tell me what you feel, in a scale of 1 to 10, which we have said from the very beginning, somebody had crossed her path. And if it's this guy they have, it's going to be a friend of a friend or somebody that had access to that house at some point and was very familiar with that house. Maybe a pool man, maybe a landscaper, maybe somebody that was, a friend of a friend. But some way, because the victim is so low risk, this person knew that she was going to be in there on that night and that this thing was going to go down the way it went down. Okay. That's my opinion.
But they don't appear to have cased the place very well.
Well, yeah. Well, they knew that. We don't know that because he was very comfortable.
Comfortable, but I mean, didn't seem prepared that the camera would be running, and there are things that just suggest amateur hour. I mean, what I find very interesting looking at this from psychologically is that there's a juxtaposition of two things that don't normally go together, right? One is that he's totally unsophisticated, like this is this person's first rodeo, but he's as cool as a cucumber, like we see in like psychopaths and people that have absolutely no worry under pressure. It's very weird to see those two things together. So the only thing I can conclude is this person is just not afraid. They're really comfy in that kind of setting. And I agree with you. It's a low risk kind of thing. But the whole thing of thinking that was going to be adequate for the operational, that it speaks to a lack of imagination, a lack of envisioning what's really going to happen, a lack of imagining other people's feelings and reaction, that sort of comes together to suggest a certain type of person. But do you know what I mean? And also not, as we keep saying, not especially bright, didn't really plan ahead very well. And I think threw all of that together just from what was around the house. My first thought when I saw it was of that scene in The Honeymooners where Ralph dresses as the man from space and just takes everything that's in the house and attaches it. Remember that ridiculous thing with the faucet and the board and the stupid thing on his head? And they give him the award for the man from space. It has that kind of ridiculous quality to it. It's whatever I found around the house. Those gloves look like you pick up snowballs with them. Don't fire a gun with them. It's weird. And also, what was the gun for? I mean, I'm curious. What was he expecting to happen? Was the idea we're going to hold the gun to this woman and walk her out of the house? I mean, I'm just trying to picture what the idea was here. Was she carried out in some kind of tarp or thing? That kind of thing. And also, how large is Miss Guthrie? Does this guy look like he could pick her up?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is he by? We're assuming that he's by himself.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. I mean, did she walk out, with him holding a gun? I mean, I'm just kind of trying to picture it because I'm trying to envision myself into the scene. And also, we don't see the car behind him.
No.
But so it would have been like probably off to the side or something. But we agree there must have been a vehicle. I mean, obviously, there's a vehicle somewhere there. And she's loaded into the vehicle. So, there's the info. 5'4" and 150 pounds. This guy look like he could lift her?
No,
he doesn't.
Not cleanly.
And another thing that bothers me, Gary and Chris, is that and it dovetails with what Gary has to say, is that he's so comfortable and he's so slowly approaching the door with these lights on. He's not concerned that she's going to see the lights and press 911, which suggests to me that he either believes that she's asleep and not going to wake up or is not going to be aware of his presence. And I don't know how you can know that making the approach, because for instance, I'm not 84, but if I see lights outside my front door at whatever this is, 1:40 in the morning or something, I'm pressing 911. And this guy's approach is so casual. He's making no effort to conceal anything with the lights. And really, had he turned the lights off with the full moon, if he let his eyes adjust to it, he probably wouldn't have needed the lights.
He acted as if
he's shining these lights. Go ahead.
To me, he acted as if he believed that there was no one inside the house, because, as I said earlier, that camera is gonna alarm. It's gonna show motion, and it might have had a chime attached to the system inside the house, which mine does, and so that was a big risk if he just willy-nilly approached that front door, saw the camera, and then hung around and pussyfooted around as he did and tried to obscure the camera with the shrubs. So there's a good chance that he knew she wasn't even in there,
right?
Or that she was in there dead or incapacitated in some way,
right? And
perhaps sedated.
Well, Chris, you raised the point earlier that you wondered from his body language if he was looking like there might be another person with him. You asked that question if he was looking, that there might have been a Confederate, because some things do raise the interesting question of whether this guy was working in concert with somebody.
Pull the video back up, Chris, where he bends down and reaches for the shrubs.
I'm just curious if you guys think it's possible this guy was working with somebody else.
Oh, yeah. At one point, he does look as if he's looking at something specifically.
About that.
I mean, that was your point. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's difficult to see, but you can tell he looks back out toward the street right as he stands up with the shrub, with the weeds in his hand.
It was almost like he was spooked, or he's
right. Keep going. Right there. See, and he's almost looking over his shoulder.
Right.
Maybe he's trying to obscure his face from the camera again, but I think he was looking out at the street.
interesting to think about. I mean,
Yeah,
if we think that he couldn't lift her, that I mean, that's interesting too. And I'm just curious. Do we think this could be a one-man job? I mean, it would be pretty difficult, no?
I think that's highly unlikely for
Yeah.
a number of reasons.
Yeah. And this thing is so fluid right now, with so much information. That's usually how these things go, right? Where, I definitely feel that there's going to be somebody in the chain here that, and I don't know who that person is. It could, for all we know, it's the gardener. Okay. But we have not left that house. I mean, would you guys agree? Would we have left that house in the last 8 days? I think the answer
No.
collectively would have been why.
No.
Okay. Because everything again focuses back to an 84-year-old just disappearing out of the house. Okay. And so that's where they started with the circle of influence. I still think the Bitcoin was a head fake, which I think we're going to be proven now that TMZ dropped $300. If TMZ did it, I agree with you 100%, John. That's, they took a risk, but
Why would TMZ do that?
And no, they said they did. I thought it was just that they reported that it was active, that somebody did.
There was
They didn't-
activity. TMZ reported there was activity, and then
Right.
somebody else, a news channel, said it was $300.
Not that they deposited it. It's very,
Harvey Levin. Sorry to interrupt. Harvey Levin was on with Sean Hannity just before we came on air here tonight, and he said that he couldn't tell Sean what the amount was because he had made an agreement not to disclose that.
So why would he do it?
it looks like somebody is testing.
If he did, I mean, where are we getting that information that he did it?
No, that's exactly. It's
TMZ.
Yeah.
we don't know. TMZ.
No, I thought TMZ,
TMZ told me.
No, I thought TMZ.
TMZ to see their reaction.
No, I
Yeah.
thought TMZ reported that it was active. Is what I'm trying to say. That the account was active. Bitcoin was active. That's what I'm talking about. But one thing I think is interesting to point out is that we were all talking about this case for several days now, with some confidence that this was a personal cause kind of situation. And if it turns out that there are multiple people involved, it's interesting because what we know from criminology is the more people that are involved, the more likely it is this is some kind of group enterprise kind of thing. And then you start thinking a lot more of motives that are financial, pragmatic, whatever. What's also interesting is that we seem to have, it's like the old Kierkegaard point, when you have two contradictory things, they're probably both true. Well, I think that there is truth to that. My guess is that this is some mixture of some people or persons that simply were in this for money or whatever, and somebody that was a little close to the victim, that where there's some also a personal element to it, because there are little signs pointing in both directions. And don't you get the impression that somebody had to recruit some other people and there had to be something in it for them?
Yes.
And for those people, they're just pragmatic, kind of, types that are, that are little, schemers and someone else.
I commented to John in a text earlier today that this case reminds me of several cases that I've been involved in over the years, where you have a small group of methamphetamine tweakers or some other drug culture group that have gotten together and realized that somebody with perhaps some money, an affluent person, lived down the street, and so they concoct a scheme to go in and rob them or burglarize them, or not necessarily abduct them, but break in, kill them, ransack the house, so forth. So these are not, I mean, this obviously is a unique case because it's getting so much notoriety, but
Right.
absent the abduction part, these things occur all the time in this country. I mean, all
Right.
the time. They're
And in
very, very,
fact, yeah.
yeah.
Bob, because we were talking about that case, and in its own way, if there are multiple suspects involved in this, it in a way also reminds, and Chris will remember this, of the Troiani
Yeah.
murder case that we worked, where you had a bunch of people involved who all imagined that they were master criminals. And the only thing I'll say about that is if your gunman shoots out the back tire of the getaway car, this is the sort of thing you see. People who imagine it's easy to commit a crime like this and get sucked in because they think they're going to make some money. And these are people that have no experience in crime.
Yeah, and these are
Can-
that's the type of contact or connection that we would expect
Yeah.
somewhere. Okay, but so the question is, if hypothetically that's maybe that's what's floating around there. Okay, we don't know it, but that would be the kind that wouldn't surprise us. Okay, but then the second question is, okay, well, who hired this? Who hired the electrician? In the family, who hired the electrician? What's the purpose? Et cetera. You're tracking where I'm going with that, and so you'd want to sort that out. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I was going to do my best impression of Gary and ask a question. Is it possible that
That's what we do. We answer things with questions. How
Right.
do you feel about that?
No, that's my impression of Gary. Is it possible that the person on video, somebody could have sent him over there saying, "Hey, go to Guthrie's house, and the door's going to be open, and go inside and hang out. But I want you to do that at 2:00 in the morning." Okay. And so they're, for whatever reason, they're staging that. They're setting that person up to get caught on video, but also staging more to the story. Maybe. I don't know. How do you do, Gary?
Oh, fine. That was pretty good. Just need to work on your New York accent.
We can't disagree with you that there may be some sort of a comfort level that she recognized or something, but the fact that what's really concerning is if that was a real gun, one, he didn't know how to use it, or he was, well, yeah, maybe he did, but
So to answer Lori's question that just popped up on the screen, yes, I think that's possible. Maybe put the question back up if you can, Karen.
Let's see. He was calling Cam, knowing no cloud subscription. Let me see. I think I just pulled it down, Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I think the question was, is it possible he could have gotten in the front door? And yeah, I think it's possible. The cops have a lot more video than what they've released here. And in fact, I would say that they have a tremendous amount more video than what they've released in this case. So that's a possibility. And once again, as we've said all along here in this panel, they know a lot more than what they're releasing. So I think we really have to keep that in mind as we go forward and trying to analyze this whole thing.
Well, the thing that's blowing my mind is that I'm seeing so much buzz about this medical lift thing that it's really starting to fascinate me that maybe it is possible that this victim survived. And it's interesting because we were thinking after all these days it would be very, very difficult to justify how that would be possible. But is it possible? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I truly do hope so.
But where on earth could she have been that they would, without her meds and with an injury and not able to ambulate well and everything, and no sign of life given by people who were trying to get money? I mean, it would be very difficult to believe, but it would be a wonderful thing.
Okay, here's a good one. So Kash Patel is confirming they're looking into multiple persons of interest in this case.
Okay, so we're moving more and more and more toward a group
A conspiracy. Yes.
group enterprise thing. But there has to be still someone who has the inside scoop.
Well,
Well,
are we gonna move
let's
into go ahead, Bob.
go ahead, Mike.
I was saying, are we going to transition into where the family's staying? Because I got some thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she is a really good reporter for the Arizona family here. That's
What's
the
the
name of the
name?
station, Brianna.
Oh,
Mhm.
And I mean, she's been lickety split,
smart as a
100% on target.
Yeah.
And she's saying here, FBI Director Kash Patel has confirmed they're looking into multiple persons of interest. We can confirm 2 more Nancy Guthrie developments tonight. Sheriff has confirmed detainment happened in Rio Rico, Arizona. That's south of Tucson, about 20 minutes away from the Mexican border. Okay. So she's on it.
How interesting.
So before we get to where they're staying, let's just discuss briefly the elephant in the room, and that is all of the activity around Annie and Tommaso's house. Okay. So now that Kash Patel has confirmed that they're looking at a group of people involved in this case, that group of people, there's certainly, you have to be Sherlock Holmes to understand that it's that they believe that Annie and Tommaso are somehow involved in this, or somebody connected directly to them. They've been to their home a number of times and searched it. They've been scouring their neighborhood with, quote, dozens of FBI agents and detectives. They're doing everything that I would think they should be doing if they were focusing in on Annie and Tommaso. And that's what it appears to me that is happening tonight. So I know we're kind of tiptoeing around that, and I'm not suggesting that they committed the crime, but what I am suggesting is it's obvious that law enforcement has some information to lead them to Annie and Tommaso's home.
Devoting
so
all
there's that
those
connection
people
there.
to that neighborhood.
Yes.
Which would be, I mean, this is where we don't have any reason necessarily to say this is definitely true, but it would be consistent with the hypothesis I'm putting forward that this is a mixture of motives between some people that are sort of mercenary and doing this for some financial, practical thing like we tend to see in a group enterprise thing, and perhaps some people where there are more personal motives. There's a mixture of possible motivations going on. And so what are you thinking then about the guy in California, the Hawthorne situation? That's somebody
that's involved.
Taken off the table, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to know a little bit more. For all we know, he was. I mean, I'm not taking him out of the pocket yet, personally.
Based on what you found in the affidavit, there seemed to be some prior chit chat.
Yeah, well, the guy makes a 9-minute phone call to somebody in the family, but they don't tell, or a 9-second phone call to somebody in the family. They don't tell us who it is.
But we know who the text messages went to.
Right, and the verbiage in those text messages is, okay, I'm going to read it one more time here. Okay, the verbiage in the text message in the affidavit. Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end for the transaction. We're waiting. That's plural, not I'm waiting for the transaction. Okay, we're waiting for the transaction. And he then calls a family member, which lasted 9 seconds. Okay. Who? The FBI hasn't told us who. But what they have said is the text messages have not been linked to the ransom demand. They didn't tell us neither was the phone call. So that could be creative writing 101. Okay. to tuck it into the background. And now you all of a sudden get this guy and you say, I want to show you a video. Okay. And you show him the porch video. See, does this guy look familiar? Oh man. Okay. We're down. Okay. Okay. Well, let's make a deal. Door number 1, door number 2, or everybody goes down. We're looking for Mrs. Guthrie. What's going on? Now that is a very possible scenario. It's a possible scenario. I'm not saying it is the scenario. I'm just saying that is a possible scenario. Okay. And go ahead.
Have we heard any information? And I believe the guy in California's name is Derek. Is that correct?
Yeah, Derek.
Okay. Okay. So was Derek, do we know if Derek was in Tucson last or a week ago, Saturday? Or any time after that? We haven't heard, nobody said anything. We haven't heard anything from Derek, have we, in the media? Because I would think that that reporters would be all over him trying to get some comment.
And what was interesting is right after they hooked that guy up and they had this affidavit, they showed up at Annie's house with the UFED. And they dumped their phones. So, I'm not going to, right now, I'm going to keep him on the board. I'm not saying he's involved. I'm just saying I'm going to keep him on the board, that it won't surprise me, okay, if it comes back. I mean, because we go back to this idea that says, okay, what are the circumstances going on at the time? And at the time, you had Savannah on video saying, please, we're getting these letters. We're ready to talk. We're here. We're ready to talk. And then you get this knucklehead, and he could be just, some crazy goofball like everybody's thinking right now. But what are the odds of saying, you know what? I'm going to get hold of her brother-in-law. Not her, not the husband or the brother, and not the other sister, Annie. Okay, I'm going to get hold of Annie's husband as well as Annie. I'm going to connect her husband to the video that I just saw with Savannah looking for a point of contact.
Well, and a lot of people have said this, not only in the chat, but I heard this in an interview a couple of days ago. But Derek is also in a band that is supposedly been described as being very similar to Tommaso's band. So is there a connection there where they know each other? And if so, what's the extent of that connection? Is it a friendship, or is it just a coincidence? Well, it's a hell of a coincidence, in my opinion, if that's the case.
Well, what bothers me is that we can't tell if the verbiage that is in the affidavit, if it's menacing or friendly. It's impossible to tell if it's something like, we've chatted before about that we're colluding on something involving money. So did you send it yet? Or if it's something like, I'm threatening you and you better send me some money and we're expecting it. I can't tell. It gives no hint to the relationship between, but it does point to prior communication and some kind of understanding that Bitcoin was going to be sent, but it's not tied to the ransom messages. So that's very, very peculiar. And we agree that's odd.
Go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say?
Oh, go ahead, Mike, please.
No.
Well, the reference to he's pitching as if there was other conversations.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But is it a friendly chat or is it a menacing one?
Well, he just inserted himself in an international hunt for an 84-year-old woman.
For no reason. That makes sense.
We can tell at this point that we can tell. I mean, and what's his excuse? Well,
yeah, he's either dumber than mud or he's involved in this.
Yeah, his excuse is, well, I did an open source search, on the internet, and I got their phone numbers, so I thought maybe I'd just text them and ask for the Bitcoin. That's literally his excuse.
And they let him out on $20K.
Well, there may be something behind that. Behind that, hey, you know what? My lawyer says you can get me a deal, and the U.S. attorney steps in and says, I don't know. We don't make deals right now. What do you got?
He may be taking the first bite of the apple for all we know.
Yeah, we don't know that, but this is how it can happen in real life. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. Okay, boom, 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 and now all the dominoes start to fall over the last, 4 or 5 days since the feds have been involved. Okay, and now home fries all of a sudden tonight. The
say home fries. Great. It makes me laugh every time.
All of a sudden tonight, the FBI director says, oh, by the way, here's the video we had. Okay. You guys recognize this guy. And that, we're at this place now where they're hitting a house in, Rio Rico.
Yeah. So was that released as a trigger to get some play and
Get people talking. I mean,
get them going?
that was what I was going to bring up. Is my understanding is that all the families moved out of the house and they're at one of Savannah's properties, so behind a gated community. Well, did the FBI, with or without Savannah's permission, i.e., being a court order or her permission, did they rig up listening devices inside the house before they moved them over there? And then the family goes over there, they release these videos, and all of a sudden, brother-in-law goes into the study to make a phone call, and it's all recorded, and who he's calling and what's going on. I mean, they could be priming the pump with that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because if we think about this, just 3 nights ago, Gary, 3 nights ago,
Right.
the evidence team was at Annie's house.
And the car is still impounded too, right?
Wearing gloves.
Taking pictures.
Or doing whatever they're doing. We don't know if they're looking for the backpack. We don't know if they're looking for the clothing. We don't know what they walked out of there with. We don't know if they walked out of there with the tennis shoes. We don't know these things. Okay. But there are ways of, connecting these dots. And I'm not saying they're involved. I'm just saying nobody else's car that's been impounded here other than the mother's has been Annie's. And now we may have a third if this knucklehead was in a car and they took him down in it. Why is her car an impound? That would be one of my questions. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, they're waiting for test results to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
And so which then leads us working backwards, reverse engineering tells us that they recovered something that they felt was worthy of testing.
Yeah, I mean, remember Michael Regan, or Brian Regan, the comedian, okay, where he pulls up to the ER and he can't find a parking space and he's got a guy with him and he says, you go in there and just tell him you've been shot. Okay, I'm going to find a parking space. Okay, we don't know if her car was used and somebody else was driving the car and says, okay, here's the layout. We've gone through this. Okay. I'll be here. I'll be up the street to Bob's, observation of, what's going on up there. Okay. We good. Because how do you move this 84-year-old woman?
Right. This person couldn't even get into a house easily. They didn't get into somebody else's car. It would, if the car is in play, that somebody who owned the vehicle or had something to do with the vehicle was, we watched this guy try to get into a house. It was absurd.
With one hand.
Right.
Like
hotwire the car or something.
Right.
And to go
and what control with the claw hands.
To go way back in the analysis of this, I still can't get it out of my head why an 84-year-old woman would need to take an Uber to her daughter's house for dinner that lives within 7 miles. 5, I think John said 5 miles.
5 miles.
Why would you allow? I just don't understand this. Somebody help me understand why you would allow that.
I got an answer for you, Bob.
Okay.
and we talked about it last time a little bit. And so again, if you're hosting the evening, you got family coming over, you got friends coming over, do you take that what we determine as a 2-minute drive to mom's house and back to go pick her up turns into 20 minutes because she has to go to the bathroom, she has to put the cat up, feed the cat, she has to do all these things and get into the car. So with my mom, personally speaking, if we have a family event, my sister and I, we all live fairly close, but to keep my mom's independence, because she doesn't drive anymore, she sold her car, but to keep her independence, we have her on purpose take an Uber or a taxi to either my house or my sister's house, and then we take her home. But that just allows her that it gives her a sense of independence, that she's not an old crippled lady that can't do anything. No, she can still get out and walk and be part of society. So it gives her a feeling of independence and meets that need.
Okay.
For us.
Well, I'm not against Uber. I've taken many of them over the years. I have the app on my phone now, but I'm just saying that on this particular night, under these circumstances, and there's no indication that there was this huge party at Annie and Tommaso's house that night. It was a family dinner, the way it was described.
Mhm.
And
Dinner
so it would just seem to me that either Annie or Tommaso would come and pick her up and take her home. That seems logical to me under the circumstances, especially since it's such a short distance and it's not a long drive. It would, quite frankly, to use an Uber, it seems to me it would make more sense to put her in an Uber on the way home. So if you're going to use an Uber, I don't know, maybe I'm just, I just don't get it, but it just seems odd to me that occurred on this night. So I'm just saying, just for discussion's sake.
So
Sure.
what are John, what's sticking out with you to you about the idiosyncrasies of this thing?
The fact that we actually, even at this point, for all the talk we've engaged in, we know so little. We can't say for a fact that she was in the residence, although having seen the blood trail,
Right.
I'm inclined to believe now that she was inside the house.
I agree 100% now.
And which we didn't know before. And this is, for viewers, this is how a homicide investigation works, is that hypotheses will change as we gather more information. The other thing that I'm still trying to assemble in my mind, I believe that there are more. This is not a single actor doing this. And particularly the behavior on the video of the man, and I believe it's a man, his apparent extremely casual behavior making an approach tells me or suggests to me he wasn't concerned about being seen or having 911 dialed. That is what I'm focusing on right now.
I'm totally with you on that, John. I think you're spot on.
Yes.
And what's sticking out with you, Mike? What else is cooking up there?
I mean, I think it's like Gary said, there's multiple people involved, and it's going to be, everyone's going to have these small little roles that paint the big picture. And the guy in the video may not know anything about nothing, but his job was to go to the house at 2 a.m. and look around, and that's all we know. And that could be his only job, and then that paints him as, now he's a suspect to whoever else is involved.
Okay.
Because and what other videos do they have that they're not sharing? Because this one doesn't really
That's
show
what we
much of
don't
anything.
know. Yeah, we're ignorant of so many facts.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm curious. if that point that you caught there, Bobby, where he does look up the block or something, he's doing something's bothering him.
Yeah, and he's, I don't know if he's concerned about the camera or not. It doesn't appear as though he was concerned about the camera. It looks to me like something caught his attention back toward the road, or maybe there's an accomplice back there on the road, and he's just looking to see if they're still there in a vehicle or something. Who knows? But he's definitely looking back, so something got his attention.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Any other thoughts here, man? I got a ton of things here. Let's see. Someone is just detained. Yep. Thank you. We appreciate your kindness. What if you put the perps pick in AI and ask them to move their mask? Would AI be able to do something like that? I've always learned from you. I mean, I guess it could, but you got to be real careful in today's world. You certainly don't want to put handcuffs on somebody if you had an AI that took a mask off, right? You'd have to put them in a 6-pack and show it to a bunch of witnesses.
But Chris, it's interesting because, as the sort of game of telephone is happening, we're seeing this weaving of things that are sort of half true and are a little. But if you look at a little summary that was posted a few minutes ago on CNN, it's interesting because what they're laying out is, so it says that the Pima County Sheriff's Department, assisted by the FBI's evidence response team, is conducting a court-authorized search of a location in Rio Rico, Arizona, related to the Guthrie investigation. And that was said by the Pima County Sheriff's Office. But then it says that the Sheriff's Office said earlier it was questioning a subject who was stopped during a traffic stop who was detained in Rio Rico. That came from a law enforcement official. So in other words, we don't actually know that those two things involve the same person. It just may point to some sort of little nest of activity that is interesting. And that's about 60 miles away from Tucson, 60 miles south of Tucson, and which is interesting, right? So you have a search going on. And what clue do we get from who's looking at it? That the FBI's evidence response team in Pima County are being assisted. Does that give you any hint of what they might be looking at? And I think you were about to say something, Bob.
Well, the language is typical of the news media, not understanding what a search warrant is. Court-ordered search. Well, that's what a search warrant is, right? So, yeah, I agree. My understanding is that's where Pima County SWAT is too, is in Rio Rico, and so there was also. Several people commented in the chat earlier that the FBI HRT team was also there. I don't know if that's true, but if that is true, then that's, that could be significant. The HRT team is not just their negotiators, it's their SWAT team. It's the FBI SWAT team, basically, is what the HRT is. So, and they do have a specialty in hostage rescue, hence the name. So, obviously there's a lot going on down there. Hopefully we'll find out something more. My understanding is not only is CNN there, but Brian Enton is there. Sounds like News Nation is there. So hopefully we'll get some more on this as the night goes on.
But it feels like the video is released.
Do you have any intel?
What?
No,
for intel. Yeah. That's a good point. But it feels almost as if the video is released and it's like somebody took a stick to the hive, and now
well, that's what
out of Dodge,
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. There definitely there's no doubt. When I first saw that video, one of the first things that came to mind was, okay, the FBI is trying to trigger a response here because they've had that. They have had to have had that for a while, and when I say a while, at least a couple of days before they do this. So now they're shoring up their probable cause perhaps to make arrests. They've got enough probable cause for a search warrant, evidently, down in Rio Rico. So they're working on this. And my sense is, they're apparently being careful using the word they're detaining somebody, but that person's under arrest, make no mistake about it. And unless they're still out on the side of the road. So, and that doesn't sound like, to be the case. So that person is under arrest. Now, who knows where we go from here, but it's rolling. It's rolling pretty good. And I think it was all as a result of the videos released.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson to, I mean, think about this. The five of us are sitting here, okay, and we're getting data. We don't know what's true, and we don't know what's not true, okay? Well, welcome to police work. And specifically, welcome to homicide, okay? Because this is what it feels like to have everything just explode within 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Okay. And your phone rings and they say, hey, everything just exploded. Go down there and figure it out. Okay. This is what it's really like, because you get there and you have 4 or 5 patrol guys come at you and they go, okay, hey man, I got to tell you something. You say, okay, stand by just for a minute. We're going to circle up here. Just keep your notes and we'll be right back. Okay. Oh, hey, we got this over here. Okay. Well, put a cup over it. Don't kick it. Everybody stay away from it. Take a picture of it if you have it now, just in case. Okay. And you just keep making these decisions. They did a study that 365 decisions within 30 minutes are made when you first arrive on a homicide scene. And guess what? That's like a year's worth of decision. It's the same amount of number by coinkydink. Okay. Every single one of them has to be correct. Because when you're the sheriff and you don't like the FBI and you say, well, you guys can't come in here. Okay. This is our case. Okay. And that burns up 48 hours. And then he says, well, yeah, okay, well, maybe you can come in. Come on over. Okay. What do you want to do? Oh, you got your evidence team? Yeah, okay, well, you guys can go out to the house. Oh, and by the way, we tore the tape down. Oops, that was a mistake. I'll just tell the public. And the FBI goes, the evidence, what they're really, really good at is collecting evidence. Their evidence response team, their CAS team, all of those guys, they can do that kind of stuff. The field work stuff, that's what the locals, all of us here have done that. Okay. Like Mike's story the other night, the bad guy opened up the door and there's everybody standing in there with FBI jackets. Okay. And that stands for fan belt inspectors at that very moment. It's like, you mean you can't lock, as Mike said, you can't lock the door? Okay. But then there's other cases where it's like, guys, I need to get this. And they come back and they hand it to you and you go, how did you do that? We can't tell you, but here it is. Okay. Okay. We'll write a report that you can't tell me. Put it in, because I'm going to need it. Okay. And you're going to need it with your hand up. Okay. That's what they're really good at. And tonight's maybe a perfect example. If they did a head fake, and remember we talked about this on the last broadcast, my feeling was they did a head fake to the Bitcoin at the gas station. Okay. And it wouldn't surprise me that Home Fries ran over to that gas station, the same guy, if it's the same guy, or somebody else ran over there to hit the wallet, okay, to check on it. And they were right there and they said, we need that CCTV tape. And they pulled it out of the Chevron gas station and ran it up in the office quickly, probably to the Phoenix FBI office where they have other equipment. And they said, boom, we got a car, guys. We got a car. Do we have a plate? Bingo, we got a plate. And like Mike mentioned a little while ago, the SWAT team wasn't here by accident. They sent all the resources like, okay, we got something going here. And now they may have been doing a surveillance and boom, they got something happening and they already had a search warrant ready for the house. And now they hit the house from the dude in the car. And they're going to take him back to the office and say, hey, guess what? What? We're in your house. What do you mean? Yeah, right now, while we're talking, I got a team over there at my house, at your house. Oh, wow. Anything you want to tell us before we find it? Boom.
Well, Chris, I just want to read something that got posted very recently on the web, okay? And it says, a woman who identified herself as the mother-in-law of a man she said was arrested in the Nancy Guthrie case defended him and said he doesn't look like the suspect's photos released earlier Tuesday. Josefina Maddox told a swarm of journalists she lives at the home on Camino Agosto that was being searched Tuesday night by FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department investigators. She said her son-in-law, who she identified as Carlos Pazazuelos, is a good man, good father, has no criminal record, and wouldn't do anything like this. Investigators were searching a property in Rio Rico on Tuesday night in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case and were expected to be there several hours. The intersection of West Frontage Road and Camino Agosto was blocked off about 8:30 p.m. by two Santa Cruz County Sheriff's vehicles and became a gathering spot for journalists. The area is in a quiet neighborhood not far from Rio Rico High School. A neighbor said he saw two unmarked vehicles stop in front of the house on Camino Agosto, 3 doors down from him at about 5:25 p.m. And then it goes on to say, you know, these other details that are so. But I think it's very interesting that we have a name and everything, and you know, and I put that also in our private chat if you want to. So these names are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, we have no idea what this could be about. I mean, this could be a total nothing burger too. But
well, it goes to your theory of a group, and I tend to agree.
The name was a little. I don't know how I feel about that. They put that name out there. I mean, you know, court of public opinion. They could, you know, they put the address and the name of the person out in public.
But, you know, well, welcome to the 21st century and, you know, the Wild West, social media, you know, but what was just said, you'd be surprised. People come running out and they go, I don't know why you guys are here. I don't know, the briefcase or the backpack, the jacket and the shoes, you know, maybe not. And to your point, also, that's the other part of police work. This may be a nothing burger. Okay, guys, nothing here. Let's go. Got to go to the next one. Okay, we're still at ground zero. Any other thoughts on this whole thing right now as it's unfolding?
I mean, you know, this is just.
It's going to be a long night for a lot of people.
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
Sure is, Mike.
Yeah.
Some
Got a lot of people working this and a lot of resources out there. It's pretty incredible.
And somewhere, someplace, a police administrator or a FBI administrator is worrying about the amount of overtime being spent. That's the reality. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah, no, you're right.
That somebody is looking at this going, oh my Lord, the overtime. I mean, we had briefly, we were working a hostage thing, and I had a police captain come up. I was negotiating with this guy, and he signaled me to get off the phone, so I covered up, and I go, yeah, and he says, Lamb, I really need you to wrap this up because we've got shift change, and we've got a real crush on overtime. And is there any way you can wrap this up by end of shift so we don't incur a lot of overtime? And what do you say to something that I said, yeah, let me get him on the phone and let me tell the guy with the gun that, you know what, the city is running out of overtime funds. Do you think you could let the hostage go? Because my captain would like that. But this is the reality also. And the reason why I share this is there's a huge amount of money being spent keeping hostage negotiation teams and hostage rescue teams working all these extra hours. So they must have felt that there was something that merited the deployment of all these resources.
Mhm.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. Everybody, all the talking heads are on TV. Go ahead, Mike. What were we gonna say?
No, I was just gonna. I think, in fact, I think it was John that said it last time we got together. Is that this is just one case in the nation that it happens, and there's so many other people, other families that are impacted by death and kidnapping and suicide and all these other tragic events that just because the media is giving all the attention to this one does not negate the pain that other families have that aren't getting the same attention. And I think all of us are very respectful and kind to that thought and mindset.
That's a great point. And yeah, I mean, we are here for Nancy. I think collectively, this group, we have not left the house yet, even though there's a guy in Rio, whatever it is, who's been hooked up for potentially participating in something. We don't know what that something is. If we'll find out as soon as they release it. But at this point, I can promise you, I would say this, if he is involved, their only concentration is proof of life on Nancy Guthrie.
That's mission number one.
Mission one, where is she? Take us to her or take us to the person that knows where she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then mission number two is, okay, let's connect the dots. How did you get involved in this?
Right.
If he's even involved, you pointed out, Chris, this might be a lead that takes them nowhere.
Yeah, it could be the DoorDash driver that was in the neighborhood and they got him on a Ring doorbell going by.
Well, if
Not
there
at 2 in the morning, but I'm just saying.
enterprise, Chris, if there is a group enterprise situation, every hive has its, kind of head. Somewhere in there has to be the ringleader figure, and they may use underlings to kind of lead up to whoever the heck this is. So, I mean, don't you think, they would be working every one of these little people that they potentially, hook up and try to get to the true center.
This is not a very sophisticated operation.
No, I don't think so.
Right. Mike has dealt with sophisticated things where,
Right.
We're talking about getting on planes and flying over international, cafes.
Or doing traffic stops on airplanes at the airport.
Yeah.
That was a first.
The ice cream truck.
Just so what I'm going to do is it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm going to cut you guys loose early here. I'm going to run through some of these super chats while and if it blows up, are you guys available to opine if it
Sure.
goes sideways? Maybe not tonight, whenever it's gonna, we'll let the dust settle and let the press conference. Bobby, I know you got going.
Yes, sir. I'm good. You just let me know when you want to.
John, same.
To jump back.
But just not tonight, but yeah, call me tonight.
Hey, well, Chris will
works.
pay you overtime.
Yeah, I'm afraid at my age there is no overtime, and I would be available probably after call it 6 a.m. your time. I've got to run into town to take care of a couple of things tomorrow, and
I don't see this thing cooking tonight in totality yet.
I don't either.
yeah, but if it explodes tonight, I wish you luck. Do great, but
Don't call.
but don't call me.
Okay, tell everybody about your books before you sign off, and then Mike, you tell everybody about your channel. And so, John, tell everybody about your books.
Okay. My books, my most recent books, they are anecdotal memoirs of my career in police work. They're called Service with a Sneer is the first one. Second one is called Beach Blanket Bedlam. If you're interested, I also wrote a bunch of murder mysteries, cozy murder mysteries, back between 2006 and 2012, set in the world of collectible teddy bears. But now I'm writing about my career, and I'm currently writing a book about my years in homicide called Bring Out Your Dead. And for those of you who have purchased the books, thank you so much. I'm honored that, and I hope you enjoy them.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
We got the non-employee discount, too, by the way.
I've known you for how many years, and I had to go to Amazon to buy your book.
1982, and you can get it autographed if you mail it to me at your freight.
Right here, brother. Right there.
It include a self-enclosed envelope.
I've got one too. Awesome. Yeah. And also the book in Seaport Village. What's it called, Johnny? The Ghost Stories.
Oh, the ghost story book.
Yeah.
That I can't remember the name of the shop, but that's that's sad. I can remember the names of public drunks I booked in 1979.
Yeah.
But I can't remember a bookshop.
That's because it was family.
Well, we put
where
John,
my car is parked at the Costco.
this group, we put John on a lot of Ubers just in case. Go ahead, finish your thought.
I was just going to say, I mean, I can't remember the name of the bookshop in Seaport Village. I know the last portion of the name is Crow, like a bird, and the ghost books. That's the other one I did. I investigated supposed haunted places in San Diego, some that really are and some that aren't. And as you will probably guess from most of my books, there is a thread of snarky humor that I'm working to eliminate from my personality, but it don't look good at age 70 that it's going to happen.
John, do you mean Upstart Crow?
Upstart Crow, yes.
That's out of business now.
Is it out of business? That's a shame.
Yeah. Hey,
that
was like a landmark.
Seaport Village, there's a district.
Harvard Drive landmark for a long time.
It was Seaport Village was great, yeah, but
it's still there. That
No,
maybe they just
not.
relocated.
The bookstore is not there anymore. It was like a beloved institution, but
well, independent bookshops are vanishing, and that's really, and I mean, we're going out. It's really a shame because independent bookshops are they're treasures, and so, but if you're interested in ghost phenomena, I believe in ghosts. I don't believe in all ghosts, and that's sort of where it goes.
this guy was hilarious.
And the ghost tours in San Diego, John used to run those too.
Yeah, I used to have walking tours of the haunted places of San Diego.
If you ever want to know, he's the guy.
I used to dress up in a clothing from the 1870s.
Yep.
So
He was a wealth of knowledge. We love him. He's one of the best. Mike,
John, are you doing any battlefield reenactments?
I've stopped doing the reenactments years ago and for just basically for about the past 12 years, I was taking care of my wife who had Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so that limited my ability to do the reenactments. If sometime, maybe Chris, I'll send you a picture of me in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And, that was enormous fun. And, but now I'm devoting my time to basically just writing, and I've written 9 books, and at this point, if I continue, I've got another 5 that I'm looking at. So
Amazing.
Yeah, and seriously, he's like a history buff. I mean, he's just an amazing mind, and I've always been honored to call him friend, and I had the privilege to work for him at some point. So it's a plus plus. And Mike, so tell everybody about your YouTube channel, and all the folks here, please get over to Mike's YouTube channel and sub. You can go down to the bottom. You'll find the link for John's books, link for Gary's books, and the channel that Mike has.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Pleasure being on tonight. So I appreciate everyone's, the chat's been great. Listening to people's questions and thoughts. The people much smarter than the five of us here with their insights and things they're seeing, which is great. So for me, my YouTube channel, Heroes on the Job. And so it's first responders around the world in a positive light. So police, fire, military, Coast Guard. And there's, I was in Santa Margarita today, and there's a dead body in the lake. And so you can go to the channel and get a little bit more information on that. Our homicide team is working on that. So we're trying to figure out what that's all about. But Heroes on the Job.
Yeah, so get over there and really ping that channel, blow it up. I mean, because it's an amazing channel. And Mike, like John, like Bob, are amazing human beings, and like Gary. But, Mike comes from, he's the salt of the earth. And I've known him had the privilege of association with him. I've lowered his property values a couple of times, just, pulling up.
The neighbors still don't talk to me.
With my Airstream. No. And, but, we met each other one time, just, he was traveling and we were traveling, and we just ran into each other on the East Coast. And it was in Maine, right?
Yeah, it was in Maine. We coordinated and we're chatting, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm in Maine. And you're like, well, I'm in Maine. So let's get lunch. And we
hung out, and his beautiful wife, Janet, everything he does is from the heart, as well as, he's the real deal. So please support his channel. And you used to run also the nativity scene every year there in SoCal, right? Mike?
No.
You
It's a terrific memory.
He's such a chicken beak.
Don't you wish you stopped using LSD in 1974?
What's it called?
You run the nativity set. No.
What's it called?
Dude, it's your story. Let's go. I'm going to get Karen on the line.
Anyway,
Holy
film at
smokes.
11. You're going to have, well, I'll tweet it out when I get the name of it again. I forget what it's called. It's the live, the art thing. Maybe it's, what's it called?
So
It's that thing.
So if for those that are more cultured and sophisticated than Chris, I was director of security at Pageant of the Masters and
There it
Festival of
is.
the Arts in
Yeah.
Laguna Beach, which is a world-renowned art show and live art.
Very famous.
Pageant of the Masters. And so
Gosh.
after my law enforcement career, that was one of my assignments.
Nativity.
And to Chris's credit, by tradition, the last set of Pageant of the Masters, the last scene is the Last Supper. No donkeys in it, but Jesus is there. So it's close to the Nativity. Is Jesus, the Last Supper, a little older than the Nativity scenes that you're thinking of, but still there.
Look at this. Look at this comment. Cops with dementia show.
I mean,
That is far closer than
That-
you even suspect.
Now that's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny right there. That is funny.
oh, wait till we get drinking.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So,
Not
All
this boy.
Bobby, anything else from your end over there?
No, I'm just waiting to go fishing in Wyoming as soon as I can. That's all
Right.
I'm doing. I don't have any books or YouTube channels or anything.
You're doing life right. The FBI has a phrase: small cases, small problems; big cases, big problems; no cases, no problems.
That's great.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll cut you three. I'll cut you three loose, and then Gary, I'm gonna tell everybody about your book and where they can get it.
It's #1, isn't it?
Well, it was as of yesterday, it was #1 in forensic
It was
psych.
#1 as of a couple of hours ago.
That's
Oh, it's
fantastic.
still? Oh, that's amazing. Well, you know, I'm very proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's The New Evil is the book I wrote with Michael Stone, and it, you know, everyone it probably knows because who watches Chris show, I've been on so many times, but it basically gives a kind of series of profiles that are very useful for understanding the inner workings of offenders when you look at a crime, instead of just thinking that everybody who commits a certain type of offense has the same psychology. So it gives you a more sophisticated kind of approach. And then in the second part gets into the question of what the heck is happening to the culture that is producing new types of crime. They're, you know, partly technological, partly the collapse of certain mores, certain, you know, changes in the Western world. And so you're seeing these crimes that just didn't happen as much or with such disinhibition, etc. And so I'm very proud of it. But I really do appreciate everyone who has bought it. If you haven't read it yet, please do. And thank you. But this person, now I'm confused, Chris, as the story develops. You know, as we had said, you know, it's kind of hard to place the person who did this in there in the scale, because now we're starting to get a sense of a little bit more of a kind of group enterprise thing. So we start moving up the scale through the 12 to 14 kind of number now. So I think we have to see what the heck is going on. But usually at the center of these things, there's a pretty cunning kind of psychopathic figure at the heart of these things, and the rest are the kind of, you know, dopey stooges. But someone is in the center of this web. Be interesting.
Okay. So,
Hey,
and go
Hey,
ahead.
Chris, just real quick, I just wanted to thank Karen. We all know she's in the background there doing all the work. Thank you very much, Karen. Appreciate all your help.
She's the brains of the operation. That's for sure. You guys know I married way up.
Yeah. It's nice to know that behind the scenes there is an adult running this operation.
Well, since I joked about the honeymooners, are any of you honeymooners fans, by the way? You all love the honeymooners?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've seen the reruns.
One of these days, Norton.
You remember when Ralph is trying to convince Alice that men are superior to women, and he says, "Don't forget, Alice, that there would have been no America if it weren't for Christopher Columbus." And she said, "There would have been no Christopher Columbus if it weren't for his mother."
Exactly.
That's it. So anyway,
All right.
Well, we know there wouldn't be any interview room if it weren't for Karen. So
absolutely, and she's gonna. We'll have an update. You know, she's been just amazing at keeping me on track here. So, thank you guys so much. I'm going to read the super chats. Will you guys?
All right.
You know, enjoy.
okay, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
You betcha, bro. Thank you for coming on, each of you. Go sub to their channels. I want to get to your super chats here. Please forgive me for reading them towards the end here, but I just want to, the person there wearing weird shoes, if not sneakers, how can he run them? He knew he didn't have to. Yeah, exactly. Great point. You really need to view the AI enhanced images. Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw those earlier. Very interesting stuff. The man reminds me of Lake and Riley case, the outfit, creepy gloves, trying to break in. So scary. Absolutely. And that guy, he spent like 45 minutes around Lakin's apartment before that horrible. Race, age based on body frame and eyes. You know what? White guy of some sort, or, you know, Hispanic. We don't know. But I'm going one of those two. Let's see. Is it possible as a type of suppression device affixed, hence odd size holster? Great question. Probably not, but that's always a possibility based on the fact that he was wearing such thick gloves, as it was pointed out earlier, it's going to be really, really difficult to pull the trigger on that thing with those gloves on. Does anyone know what kind of gloves those are? We talked about that. It looks like there's the latex gloves over another pair of thick gloves. Hey, those remind me of boxing gloves. I know, right? That's very thick. The door isn't damaged. I believe the blood came from him when he grabbed the plants. It probably had thorns. I bet no one went to the in that way or out that way. Thanks, girl mom. The sheriff, though, did DNA on that blood, and they confirmed, unfortunately, that it was Nancy's. So, yeah. They are reporting they have someone detained. Yes, thank you, Bonnie, for your kindness and your in the chat here. His backpack is very heavy. He is there not to rob, rather something more sinister. No room in the backpack for valuables. Very good observation. I completely agree 100% that this guy was kitted up, as we call it, to go in and do something. We don't know what was done yet, but let's keep praying for the family. Do you think he has a right side damage? Fingers don't open up, right knee nerve bends as he walks and bends for vegetation. Also, vegetation was on top, a blood splatter. It did look like he was going to knock before seeing camera. You know what? That's a good point. Karen saw that too. She said he leans when he walks in his gait. Remember the gal in Texas? I forget, Misty. I think her name was Misty. And that suspect that killed her in the church, that suspect also had a weird gait. I got to circle back to that particular case. That's a very fascinating. It's still unsolved. It's an honor to be alive with all five gentlemen currently on screen. You're all amazing, and I watched you all. Thank you so much. Mongoose Sister, love that name. Gold tooth cap reflects 90% of IR light. Yeah, that could be, a grill. That's what you're saying, right? He is used to wearing backpack. It's just to him. It's not heavy. When was the package left? Adult service. That's a great question. I don't think anybody walked up and checked the Amazon package. And that's a question I've had as well. So I'm sure they took pictures of it. For your coverage of this, thank you for your coverage of this and your work on the Melody case. Thank you so much. Give Nancy a big hug from me because she's a good woman. Thank you. I can agree 1,000%. If no evidence of fourth century, maybe someone. I told Nancy Grace today, you're too spicy. She was. She likes to get on you every once in a while. I just roll with it. If no evidence of fourth century, maybe somebody already had a key to Nancy's house and gave to intruder like Annie's husband. That I hope that's not the case, but how, problematic would that be? If more than one person, why was only one person at the house, you'd think? It would have been easier to move her with help. That's a great question, and that's why I think the car is so important and in play. There has to be a car involved here because he has to manage her when he gets her in the car, or does he put her in the trunk, right? God forbid. So that's a great point. Tennessee nurse, was she hit in the head with the gun and blood drops from the gun? I hope not. Me too. But anything is possible. Let's pray that, there's some type of recovery. Just heard light pollution. Think green believers will feel differently about no lights now. Lights and camera, folks. Safety first. Yep. Your investigator expertise is intriguing. The panel, thank you so much. JLo, you've been with a 43 months. Wow. MS Now has reported on scene. Camino Agosto, Rio Rico. Thank you for being here tonight. David, as an older individual, I highly appreciate your professionalism and your insight on all criminal cases. That's why I watch you. Thank you. Thank you for your kindness, and thank you for your time, and that you trust us here at the interview room. This is one of the reasons we started this channel 5 years ago was to bring you valuable insight from some of the best professionals in the world. And you can see that panel that's been assembled just for this. They are fascinating human beings and really good people, really good men. And we've had Ann Burgess on here. We've had Kathy from, we've had the Bardot method, Francine. We've had a lot of women here too that are just as equally actually smarter than probably a lot of people that we know. So maybe his job was to take off the camera and other cams after 40 minutes and lap the Nest camera interacted with Nancy's disconnect. Any thoughts? That's a great point. That was brought up earlier in our conversation as well. Maybe there was this, maybe he's just one piece of the puzzle. I definitely know this is my personal opinion. There's going to be a connection to somehow to this house. You just don't randomly pick that house and you're 60 miles away in another part of Tucson. Okay. So there's something that's connected. There are flashes of light before him when he pulled the plant, one behind him, brick arc, another near the glass panel left of security door. Okay. That may go towards the theory that there is another person in play here. Can't imagine what the family's feeling right now. I know Maui, and we love Maui. She's in Maui, so keep those people in your prayers. In Lahaina and the Maui fires, those people are still trying to put it back together. And Maui Girl is one of the best mods that we have, and we're so grateful for her. Became a YouTube member. Thank you, Michael. So appreciative of that. One of the still photographs, the suspect had no gun and no backpack. I saw that where he's standing in the middle of the sidewalk. The picture standing under the brick. Yep, same. Two people in the same gear. Or did he go off and get equipment? Great question. We don't know. Police cordoned off. Yep, we got that one. Thank you so much, Luna Tickles. I love it. Pop sidekick. If T or A is involved, they may have slipped her a sedative right before she went home. That might explain why the perp wasn't concerned. Interesting point. Very interesting point. Yeah. Thank you, Dejuan, 18. Appreciate you. Now, this is for Coffee Among the Chaos. Thank your panel. Great discussion tonight. And thank you so much for always being with us. We certainly appreciate you and are grateful for you. Thank you, Casey Bryant. There's an Amazon package delivered. There is no package in the new video, so it had to have been delivered after. But how do you deliver a person and not see the blood? Great point. And we just wonder, right? Or how do you not call the cops and say, I saw the blood? Thank you so much for becoming a member. He pushes the doorbell button twice with thumb. Thank you. Casey, I have to go back and look at that. Good catch. Prayers for Ed and the zebra family. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, Karen and I are so grateful, and we hope that you have had a good time being with us, but simultaneously a serious time. There's time for levity, but at the same time, the reality of this whole circumstance is we have an 84-year-old woman out there. Okay. And let's pray, right? Let's pray that, our Father in heaven watches over her wherever she is, and that the right people, and that the right links and dots are connected, and that the law enforcement folks that are investigating this stay on the track, and that they stay safe and healthy. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Continue to take care of one another. Karen and I will be on this, and if we jump in, hopefully you'll be with us. Please hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, hit that like button as well, because that helps the channel through the algorithm. And we thank you, all of our new subs that have been with us. We're so grateful. That's the only thing we ask. The only thing we ask. So please share this out to all of your friends and neighbors. Aloha, everybody. Biakamai. pay attention to what's around you, and continue to take care of one another. Thank you, guys. Love you all.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I'll say we fly away, you and me, go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. I need a summer breeze, some fresh air to put my mind at ease. No cares. You wanna come with me? Me and you go to our favorite tree. Are you ready now? We jump on a plane now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away. Don't hesitate now. We're taking away. Yeah, we're taking away. We'll never come down. We're going away. Yeah, we're going away. You and me. Feeling the sun on my face in a while.